What is going on, all-terrain nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or these Broncos that most of us drive, some of us drive. I never know how to pronounce that anymore. Say that. This is your Bronco Talk Live, and it is presented by White Knuckle Off-Road Products. Some of the best rock sliders I've ever seen, and I don't say 100%. That because they're paying us to, because they're not. They're giving us some rock sliders.
Yeah, and, they're giving us a set, but we've run them on all our vehicles.
We have, and so when you see that name down there, or any sponsorship we ever take on, know that we stand behind the product because we use the product. So this is your Ford Bronco Talk Live, and happy Monday, everybody. I see a cast of characters is joining in. And we greatly appreciate that. I think we have a good show tonight, Kelly. We've got Kansas City royalty. We'll say we've got Mr. Tim Bartz with I'm going to mess up the dealership.
You already dropped the ball.
Long McArthur.
You already dropped the ball on who our guest is, and you did not let me do the intros yet.
Well, I'm not bringing him in just yet.
But you usually wait because you don't like to tell everybody.
Well, anyways, we have Mr. Tim Bartz who will join us in just a few minutes. But you know, we have housekeeping we have to do and stuff. I want to say hello to everybody. Hopefully, you've had a amazing Monday, and I want to say hello to our members, 40 plus strong, and including our tonight's guest, which we greatly appreciate his support. And I want you guys to know that when you're a member with the channel that we've been doing some weekly vlogs, and they're a little messy maybe right now, but we're trying to learn how to do this stuff and give you a little piece of our life. And this week's we had a dryer issue, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it was kind of hilarious to me how far Miss Kelly went into that thing. But you guys know the drill. You know what's coming. And any, mini, miny, mo.
I was just giving him a hard time because he has not done the.
All right, there you go, Kelly. There you go.
If you all could see my face after he pushed that button, I'm just saying.
Oh man, but Kelly wants to say hi to everybody, and I need to pour my my recovery drink for the day. So
wow, your recovery drink.
Yeah, it's been a rough one.
All right, so we've got quite a few to say this evening too, and if I didn't catch you, just know that you are appreciated. I just didn't happen to see your name for some reason saying hello. So we've got Zach N in the house, Anna Smith in the house, Cigar Texan, Jeffrey Babb, Pure Blood Patriot, Josh Hamilton, 502 Bourbon Crew, Dirk Connor, BJ or B Bim Joker. Why?
No, you can't talk. This is great. This is real great.
Says been on a chip hold for over a month, so really impatient. Totally get it. Francis Arrigo, I'm totally gonna butcher that. I'm usually much better with names, so I'm sorry.
That's
Francis
why you do this.
Arrigo says can't wait to hear the words order bank is open.
Our people cannot see your face. There you go.
Oh, did they need to?
They might.
Randy Hughes, Gia Hogue has gotten her Bronco, so we're excited there.
There's some longtime viewers in here that's getting their Broncos. I enjoy
Bird Dog Overland, Frank Costanza, Bob Masters, Nurse AJ says she's going to sneak around for just a little while, but been up a long time.
Working nurse, and
I know, working hard, and she had some Christmas festivities this weekend. So
knowing Miss Nurse AJ, when there's probably wine involved.
Oh, there was a whole lot of wine and some ugly Christmas sweaters and all that.
Okay.
John Miko, Allie Dubois,
Miss Dubois.
Nikki Brewer in the house, Tim Cornet, Michael Cooper, M. Peugeot, Maki Fan, Terrence Mooney making an appearance this evening as well. And did I miss anybody? Anybody come in? Adam Weber, I think I got you. And Wes joining us. Jonathan Folds too. Well, a few last minute folks.
They keep coming. First off, guys, if you will smash that like button for me, the algorithm would say thank you, and I would say thank you as well. But so let's bring in two nice guests. Let's bring in Mr. Tim Bartz. And Tim, how are you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Well, it looks like I know you privately. You told me you've been under the weather just a little bit, so we greatly appreciate you being on here and joining us tonight.
Yeah, sure.
Got
to get first off working after being off for a couple days. Got to get it working for tomorrow's live stream.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Back in. And if you guys don't know who Tim is, Tim's with Long McArthur Ford, and you're out of Kansas City, correct? If I remember right.
Salina, we're right in the middle.
Okay. Well, that's the best part, right? You get all the customers that way. But we found Tim through just looking for things to talk about, and you popped up on our radar, and wow, man, like I thought we have fun live streams. Like you guys have 1,000 people at a time, it seems like, in your chat. I have no idea how you keep up with everybody, because you watch the little chat bar and it's just like spinning fast and fast, and people just asking you questions like crazy. And give us a little background. Let us know, why are you doing this? A little bit about your dealership and what's going on.
All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, Long McArthur Ford. We're kind of right in Salina, Kansas is a town of 50,000 people. So right in the middle of Kansas, and we're really not in a metro area. I mean, like Ford says that we're supposed to sell, I don't know. It's like, well, we sell about 300 times to what they say we should sell based on our where we're at. But because of where we're at, we get a lot of farming area around us. So Wichita is about an hour and a half south of us. Kansas City is over 2 hours, to the east of us. And so we're out of those areas. But we, right now, especially because of how we've been targeting things, we've been outselling all those
Wow, that's
metro
awesome.
dealers. So it's been working really well. But my background is I've been at Long McArthur for 21 years.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
I started there. I started in automotive with them, family-owned business, great people to work for. I love their philosophy. They always say, hire the people that you trust, put them in those places, and just let them go to work. And they do that. And they actually hired me, knowing that they, at the time, internet sales 20 years ago was new. And so they said, okay, this guy knows how to work on a computer, so let's have him do this. So that's about,
Wow.
if back then any internet person or manager that was, hey, you know how to work a computer, come over here, start taking these leads. And that's usually how it worked. But that's exactly how it worked for me. So, but I'm always wanting to do, I try to learn everything I can about something and just do it as good as I can. And so it's just adapt. I mean, the thing about digital is it evolves like every, twice as fast as anything else. So I started going to conferences on this. They call it Digital Dealer. That was the big thing. And they have them twice a year. That's how important they are, because they don't have them just once a year, but they have them twice a year. And so one year I went back in 2015, and they were really talking about video back then. And it was kind of new. It wasn't really talked about a lot, and getting on YouTube and that kind of stuff. And I said, I'm going to go back, I'm going to start this, and I'm going to hand it off to the sales guys, and they could just go from there. And the sales guys never wanted to be involved. So
Right.
it became, one of those jobs where it was like, internet manager. I involved the BDC. So internet leads, phone calls, all go through the department that I was in charge of, and that kind of stuff. And, a couple nights a week, I would work the sales desk too and close down the sales desk. And I mean, a lot of different job roles. And they started the dealership. I actually started doing videos without the dealership's knowledge. So I started with used cars and said, here, this used car here, this is here's how, here's a dents and dings, how many miles it has on it. I mean, I would do all that. So people would come in and the salesperson would be like, yeah, this has got a ding here. Yeah, I know about it. I saw that in the video. I mean,
Wow.
so it went really big. They liked it. And I started doing on the news side, I started doing, complete guide videos is what I like to call it. I feel like that's my thing, and my niche is that I would take a model down to the trim, like F-150 XLT, and I'm going to tell you what's standard on every XLT, and then here's what's not the 301A equipment group. Here's what's in the 302. Here's
Nice.
what's in this package. Here's what's in that package. If you get this package, you can't get this. And so I do that, and standard equipment and everything, and I still do those. But I was doing those back in 2015 before ordering was really that big of a deal. And I wasn't getting a lot of exposure until I started telling people about, we do a special free shipping offer if you want to order from us, if you're out not local, and that kind of thing. And then since COVID, that's when those really just took off, because I mean, we found out we couldn't buy vehicles off a lot because nobody had any. So it kind of went from there. So those videos became popular, but Maverick is probably the one that really got the notice. So because I've always been about helping people out. So, putting the videos together, and then when people respond in the videos and say, hey, here, if they ask a question about this or that, then I would answer them. I love helping them out, but didn't really jump onto the forums until Maverick hit, and realized that all these forums are out there with people needing answers, because not all dealerships are forthcoming with that information. because it's
When
like
forums tend to breed misinformation pretty badly too, right?
yeah, sometimes. Sometimes.
Well, with you were talking about COVID and stuff. I was going through your channel a couple weeks ago and kind of you look at, as YouTubers, you look at everybody's, you kind of can see where what are they doing that's kind of interesting. But I seen the numbers of your channel, and like you guys were like doing pretty good numbers, but it seemed like when COVID hits, like when your channel like really started spiking, because I know there was a lot of people that when the Bronco dropped, there was just, Ford just went, here's a video, boom. Like there was nothing about it.
Here's a truck, you want it, right?
Yeah.
And that's it.
And people were very hungry for that. And in Maverick, the same way, like they just sort of dropped something and, a few of the press got to kind of talk about it. But sometimes people want a little bit more. And like you said, you like to go deep, do deep dives in these things. But with Ford dropping Bronco the way they did that like mess up dealers, or were you guys prepared for it, or how did that work out for you?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think most dealers were prepared and for it. I mean, when with about anything, that's what's kind of been what I've enjoyed is every time they do a launch, I'm like, okay, great. Now I get an opportunity to do this launch, and for me, getting the exposure out there was good, because there are going to be a lot of dealerships that don't know what to do and don't know how to get it and to spread the news and to get it out there. Yeah. But I had this YouTube channel, and for us, that I could easily do that with. And so I loved when Bronco, the Lightning, all these launched, Maverick, and saying, okay, great. Now here's what's great about this, or here's the new launch. Here's when you can order one. Here's how you order one, or reserve, whatever it might be, and getting those videos out there to everybody. And then once we have the information of the complete guide video stuff, the quarter guides, then I could get that information out there too, and help people figure out how they want to order their Bronco or whatever. Because I did those on the Bronco as well, and we did actually, not like we did with the Maverick. I don't know what happened there, but with the Bronco, I got videos out on it too. And our market area, when we first did it, before my videos landed, we probably had about, I don't know, 50 reservations or so. For us, which, not too bad. We ended up over 150, maybe ended up 200, because we did have a lot of people that switched their reservation to us after watching my videos.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So, so we had a lot of people that did that switched over. I mean, we've had finally a lot of those get taken delivery of theirs. But, and so it's, so I did those with the Bronco Lightning as well. We probably have, what do we have? Over 140 Lightning reservations, and for a town like Salina, Kansas, that isn't really electrified,
right?
That's
you
can't imagine.
You guys have a lot of storms out there. Right? Eventually, there'll be electricity, right?
One way or another.
Yeah. So, and and then the Maverick hit, and I just did the same thing, and a lot of dealers just slept on that. They didn't realize, because the Maverick was a very soft launch. It was like, okay, we're not gonna. They didn't even do anything on social media really. Or like a big launch, a live launch reveal like they did with the Bronco and the Lightning. It was like, here, we're going to tell all the dealers, and then tomorrow we're going to put social media posts out there, and you can start ordering tomorrow. So it's like, so, and I had this information, I had the video ready to go live, and I wasn't allowed to have it go live until 6 a.m. that day. But as soon as it did, I went live, and we just started taking the orders right away. And a lot of dealers had no clue. They're like, oh, people aren't going to buy these until they can drive them and everything else. And I'm like, well, that didn't work on the Bronco.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you see what happened with the Bronco? Because
So, I mean, they realized it worked. And the Lightning.
Mustang Mach-E was the same way. Like they threw it out, and I think it was the first testing for reservations, if I remember right. And they just sort of just like didn't make a big deal out of it at all. They just were like, well, okay, we'll put it out there and it'll be okay. And and even like I will say I missed the mark on Maverick as far as me and some journalist friends. I was just like, it'll probably be like a one generation thing that just Ford just kind of throws out there. And then no, it was like massive. And I did a Maverick build and price video, and I was amazed how many views that got. And that's when I was like, I'm late to the Maverick game as far as this channel. I was like, I'm and then Johnny and you guys kick in, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna let the people that know more than me, I'm gonna let them handle that one, because I am surprised with Maverick you know, with Bronco, you know, okay, it's going to be an enthusiast vehicle. People are going to want to customize it and do all these things. But I will say with the Maverick, that was a big surprise that how like maybe it was that kind of late 80s, early 90s tuner crowd that sort of been forgot about, or I won't say tuner crowd, the little mini truck crowd that was sort of were forgot about. And, you know, GM, you know, I know the S10s back in the day were very popular. Ranger wasn't as popular for lowering the vehicles and all that, but that crowd just needed something. And, you know, that's my age group. And we have funds now that we go to buy something. We just want to go buy it. Well, you know, but my generation, they have the money. If they want to go get something, they see something cool. And then with, you know, I will say this too. I know this is long winded. With COVID, everybody started using Amazon, and everybody got real friendly with that buy it now button. And that reservation button for Ford was like, I think with Bronco, I think it was kind of a nightmare because I think they expected, well, we'll get about 100,000 reservations, and then probably 75 will actually convert. No, like this Amazon culture, man, they're like, hey, let's keep going. Come on, let's party.
Yeah. And I think with the Maverick, Allie, actually, I was kind of looking at the notes here. Allie is right on that. It's a price point, you know, it's where it hit $20,000 truck. We used to have one with the Ranger years ago. I drove one, I remember, you know, and so that was kind of at the price point. And I think hybrid is also a big kicker for that. Because of our orders, what's over 70% of the Mavericks on order right now are hybrid.
Wow.
You know,
and they're having problems getting those,
it's not
right?
just that it's a small truck, but people want to drive more fuel efficient vehicles now, and they can have a truck that can get 42 miles to the gallon, and then you have a truck back there, a bed back there if you need it. So,
well, they got to balance that 42 with the Bronco, with the big Sasquatch package. You've got to balance that.
You can't leave my Sasquatch alone.
No, but it is true. Ford needs a vehicle to balance everything because it's an
average.
But the cafe rules, if they don't hit certain marks, man. So you have to have Mavericks to have Broncos.
Yeah, that's true.
So reservation night with the Bronco, like I've talked to old Mitchell Watts about this with Town and Country in Alabama and stuff. Were you guys just inundated with phone calls, with emails when that launch happened?
Yeah, mainly because we weren't as big like nationally yet on those, that we were getting it more from our local customers. But yeah, they had so many people that wanted that first edition that were like, I can't get in, I can't do it, it won't work, you know, this and that. And we had customers, we had sales guys doing it for their customers because they were not computer literate. You know, we're still out of Kansas. We're in farming country here. So these people are like, I don't know what that computer is. So, you know, they're like,
they're lucky if they have one at home, right?
Here, do this for me. I mean, they're, you know, so we had guys putting in, I'm like, for multiple ones, but that's for my customer. I just had to put it in for him. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's going to work later, but
you know, we'll try. We'll cross our fingers and hope it works.
Figure that out. But, you know, but yeah, we did have, you know, quite a few there, you know, that we were reaching out. I do know that we had sales guys that were, you know, trying to help their customers because they couldn't get in. And so, you know, that
when I heard multiple stories of dealers that couldn't get in, like it was just flooded.
Yeah. Because we had a bunch of us at the dealership that were putting in reservations. I did not. I've, you know, all my life, it's like I have a car. It is to get me to and from work and this and that. And I wasn't really, I wasn't a guy that went, you know, wheeling or anything, you know, and I didn't have, hey, I had at the present time, I'd gotten a 2020 F-150 that I did level with Roush, you know, exhaust and everything. And I liked it. And I'm like, I can't see getting a Bronco at this time, you know, because I'm not going to trade my truck in for it and this and that. So I didn't. And then as I started doing the videos, I'm like, why didn't I? Like, I'm stupid. Should have put in that reservation. But I did listen to Ford. I put my reservation in. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you do. The reservation started in, what was it, June? Is that right? Or was it July?
14th, I believe, June 14th, something like that.
So they started then. And then in January was when you flipped over your reservation to an order. So the week before they did that is when I reserved. But I got mine that next October because Ford said, if you go 4-door, if you go the 2.3, you go cloth top, you know, then you're going to get, you know, Big Ben. And I did all those things. But I actually looked at it, and for me, never doing any kind of four-wheeling. I'm like,
Mhm.
let's keep this cost down, because this was going to be an extra vehicle for the very first time in my life. Here I am. I probably am in my what do you call it when you get old and you need just to buy something. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I think it was a little
I'm
bit
not
of that.
saying because I'm in that category.
So I just, I'm just barely over 50. So I'm just like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'll do this, but I want to, I'm going to keep it down. So let me start being kind of good about this. I went Big Ben, mid package. I wanted those. I actually almost went with the Black Diamond because I love the look of the Black Diamond. I like the Black Diamond grill without going on up to the Badlands and such.
Right.
But I like the grill from the Black Diamond. In fact, I have that grill on my Big Ben right now. I switched the grill out. And then I said, but the only difference is I didn't know if I could handle the vinyl flooring. So I went Big Ben, and then I went ahead. Plus, you can't get the LED lights,
Which
headlights
that was
with
part
that.
of
So that was kind of a deal breaker to me. Kind of wanted
that was
that.
one of those strange things with Ford. You could get the halo lights in the lesser trim,
Yeah.
but I feel like that. For one, I've always said Ford has too many trims on this thing. I think they come out of the gate swinging right for Jeep because the Jeep brand has so many trims of a Wrangler. But I feel like they should have just came down with like a base, maybe obviously the Outer Banks because people want the kind of a more plush version. And maybe the Badlands and then future Raptor. And I think that would have suit people. Did you find that your customers were kind of getting confused because when Ford launched that video, you putting your reservations down, they really didn't tell much about trims. They just I remember getting on their website. I was a day 3 reservation holder because I was sitting here going, am I really going to do this? I've never, I've bought one vehicle in my life basically on the internet. I bought a Honda Element brand new. It's a Honda. I thought it's just going to drive like a Civic or anything else. And I was never disappointed. It drove exactly like I thought it was. But this is the one vehicle that I was like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of guessing to this. Did you find like your customers are kind of overwhelmed when they started releasing the trims?
Yeah, a little bit. That's where the videos kind of came in a little handy, because then I can break down here, what they're kind of looking for this type of scenario. But I think for us, I mean, 90% of ours, they ordered, well, probably 80%. They ordered, either Wild Track or Badlands. It's like, and that's why we had so many. That was why mine passed up. I don't know how many people's orders, because mine got scheduled and got built so much quicker because it was just Big Ben, cloth top, and all that. I wanted the hard top, but I actually wanted the dual top when it launched. They originally said they're going to have dual top, and I'm like, that's what I want. And then they didn't launched without it, and I'm like, oh dang. So so then I'm like, well, let's go cloth top. I want to get it, and let's see if I can get scheduled or whatever and not take forever. And I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
Initially we went with a Black Diamond hardtop, and I had a friend over in corporate.
He went with a Black Diamond hardtop.
Well, I had a friend that was in corporate, and he was like, "Look, man, you don't want any part of these tops right now." He's like, "We're having a lot of production issues," and so I called my dealership and I was like, "Yeah, just pause the order because for like some of what I do, if you're not first, forget it. Like it's going to be the newness is worn off." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll just wait till 22." And then they did away with our favorite color of Rapid Red, and I was like, "What are you doing, Ford? Why are you getting rid of a color that you haven't even barely produced?" And you're like, "Oh, we're getting rid of that one."
Well, and like we've talked about, and I could be completely wrong on this, but my mindset on it is I think a lot of people, because like you talked about earlier, is that people couldn't drive the vehicles. Nobody got to test them out. Well, guess what? Nobody really got to see these vehicles in their colors either. So they were going, oh, I think I want Area 51. Oh, I think I want Cactus Gray. And I think I want these colors. And I think this is just an assumption, but I'm pretty sure there were a lot of people that didn't go Rapid Red. So maybe they were thinking, oh, this isn't going to be a hot color, so there's no reason for us to keep it. So why keep it? So if you don't have that supply or the demand on it, so why supply it?
They were showing those fuel cans.
The fuel cans did not do it justice.
Any kind of justice of any of the colors, because funny enough, I was bored today and I was like, I'm going to go look at me and Kelly's first live stream we ever did together about the Bronco. And I was amazed, for one, knowing the coat. Like, we were big into Area 51 at the time. Till we saw one on the
on a full size.
No, we saw it on the Bronco Sport, and then we were kind of like, eh.
Yeah, we saw it on a Bronco Sport and didn't really care for it on the Bronco Sport. But then we saw it on the full size, and we were at
Super Cel.
Super Cel, and we were kind of like, oh, that's not as bad as what we were kind of thinking it might be on there. But yeah, we teetered a lot.
But what's funny in this live stream we did, we were both like antimatter blue. We were both like, I don't think so, because that day we did the stream, we saw antimatter blue on an F-150. And I'm always amazed at colors on different vehicles.
Yes,
it just changes. There's a different personality of these colors on vehicles, and yeah, we were both kind of like, that's not a good color. And now we both like, if we didn't go red, we probably would have went antimatter blue.
After we've seen it on Broncos, it's a whole different animal to us.
Yeah, I was that way with Cactus Gray, because the images at first when they launched that were not accurate at all.
No.
And then we got a Ranger in that color, and I'm like, oh, okay, now that looks awesome in person. You just have to see it in person. And so I almost switched from the Area 51 to Cactus Gray. And so, I wanted the Cactus Gray. My wife wanted the Area 51. So we compromised, and we got the Area 51. So
sounds like me. We had to compromise too, and she got the color.
So, hey, she picked the color. I got to pick all the other options. So,
Yeah.
So anyway.
So your dealership being in Kansas, for one thing, the only thing I really know of Kansas is driving through it, and it just never ends. And like I literally went
east to west.
Yes, 100%.
I went from Nashville one time
to Colorado.
Yeah, we left at noon, and we got to Denver at like 7 a.m. And it was just like going through your state at night is truly horrible, Tim. I'm sorry. Don't mean to insult your state.
All you saw was
strobing lights of windmills.
I was gonna say the windmills catching lights somewhere.
Me and my buddy we were so tired, and because especially the older you get, you're like, oh, I remember the good old days.
And it was for his 40th birthday, so he was really feeling it, you know.
But you always remember the good old days when you were 18. You're like, I could drive across the country in a day, it wouldn't matter. And I remember halfway going through your state going, I don't know if I can do this. And there's nothing in between.
And there's no hotels where they could stop either if they wanted to. They'd have to stop on the side of the road.
There's that one part of the toll road. And I think in the middle, there's like a McDonald's and a truck stop and maybe a hotel, and that's it. But we carried on. But I will say for your state, it was one of the most, we hit Denver right about sunrise, and seeing the sunrise through the plains like that was just, it was amazing. And but
yeah, rub it in.
Yeah, but we're probably going through your state this summer, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, we're talking about making a trip to Moab, and so what we're gonna do, because we'll be taking our daughter who's 12, and so what we'll do is we'll go through Kansas on one way, and then we'll go through like Texas Oklahoma, on the way back, Texas, Oklahoma on the way back. So that way we can kind of see two different parts of the country. Yeah, and we've already prepared her. This is, hey, just so you know, Kansas is a big, wide state
with no internet.
With minimal internet or none at all. So she's like, "What, Mom?" I was like,
"Yeah, you're gonna have to do like
you're gonna have to like read a book
on road trips
or look out the window."
Yeah, I looked out the window
and try to find stuff that entertains you.
Internet's a little bit better. You'll be all right. Yeah, all right. Internet's better.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
So how has deliveries been for you guys?
Deliveries from Ford or deliveries
to
customers?
For Bronco. Sorry,
for the Bronco. Pretty good. We've been getting kind of stagnant lately, but we did get our first 23s last week or week before. Actually, on your live stream, it was like the weekend before last week's live stream. So we got our first 23s. And I think you mentioned on your live stream, I didn't even think about looking about the climate control. I was like, oh, yep, they got the numbers now. Instead of just the symbol. Which is funny. They did the same thing on Maverick last year. They just kind of all of a sudden, here we go. Now you have the little temperature image now. But so we're starting to get. We've gotten a lot of ours. We don't have too many of our original reservation holders that aren't at least scheduled.
Yeah, nice.
I think we had how many do we have? Maybe around 50 or maybe 70 out of our original 150 that, and we had more. I mean, because they opened it back up for 22. So technically they weren't all of our original people, but people that carried over from 22 to 23 was about 70. And we got a lot of those converted over. Like we had one salesperson that was on it. They were like, okay, I'm going to get all my people set up and get that out of Party 99. And man, they were scheduling like crazy. And he had a lot of his scheduled for build dates for his 23s. So they're awesome. Going. I think that's the goal, is to get these 23s all scheduled before they take new 23 orders.
Right.
So,
Well, I was going to ask you about that. Do you think that I've talked to Allie works for a Ford dealership. You'll see her on here from time to time.
yeah.
And I have a theory that I think Ford is like this is their last ditch effort for all the reservation holders of pushing for 23. They're going to, I mean, eventually they have to open up the retail orders, or dealers are going to revolt and not, they're going to want something. But do you think after this, Ford just kind of washes their hands of that situation? It's like, look, man, it's fair game now. Everybody has to get right back in if you want in, or we'll refund your money. Do you think that, or do you think they just continue like hoping reservations holders sort of go away and that they can just start building retail orders?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that they do want to kind of just say, hey, some of these people, it was what, 2020 or when was that? It seemed like,
Yeah, right.
yeah. So it's like some of these people are now kind of like out of it, and they don't even know they have the reservation out there still. I mean, we had a couple of ours that wouldn't ever respond, and calling.
Oh, wow.
And so, some of these they just, didn't. And hopefully the dealerships, my biggest fear always with ours was, okay, I don't want to see Ford cancel an order if we didn't make sure we took it out of Party 99, because that's a big deal. Is, okay, did the dealers drop the ball and say, yeah, they confirm their order, but forget to take it out of Party 99 and give it a lower priority, and then Ford deletes that, right? Because I mean, I work for Ford dealer, but I've also seen a lot of people will. My live stream has created a lot of people, talking to me about their dealers and frustrations with their dealers. So not all dealerships are, 100% paying attention to things. And so, hopefully that's one thing that I made sure I went through all these. We had some, like, even the last day, we had like 10 or 12 that were in there, and we're like, okay, are these, what's going on with these? They're going to get canceled tomorrow. They're going to go away. And so we, confirmed several of them, and several of them that were confirmed, but we either, I don't know somebody dropped the ball and didn't move it from 99 down to 10 or whatever. So we were able to fix a couple of those. I just hope that people didn't get theirs canceled that didn't know that they got it.
With that being said, have you found that the Bronco ordering process has changed the way that you and as the dealership do kind of a checks and balances when it comes to that? Because I know Ford has forced different checks and balances from like the ID and, making sure the name matches up and things like that. Cause we've talked to Allie about different things like that. But you as a dealership, have you found like you said, you're going to go back behind now and kind of look and say, hey, make sure that these 99s are true 99s. Do you find that has changed across the board, or is that just kind of something that you kind of thought about at that time, like, hey, we need to really make sure that this happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we do with all of our models now. I mean, we've had to do, especially with, it used to not be an issue because Bronco was one of the first ones where we actually, people reserved and then, and they ordered and such, and they got carried over. Because before, prior to that, you didn't see an order not get scheduled for a build date before the next model year started. They didn't have that issue. In fact, you would have some stock ones that dealers put in, but you wouldn't have any retails, because ordering like this wasn't really it's been available for years. I've been ordering that way for, I can't remember how long I've done that, but a lot of people had no clue that you could custom order your vehicle through your dealer and then have it built and such. And used to be 6 to 8 weeks. But, oh well. But Bronco was the first one to have that done. So I mean, this has been new, but I think since with Bronco and some others, and now 22, a lot of them. I mean, we've probably seen about a half a dozen models that have had to convert over. But what's difficult is that Ford's not using the same. Every model, there's a team for each model. So you have a brand manager and a brand team for each model. Gotcha. And most of them do them the same way, but they don't all do it the same way. Because like on the Maverick, when they converted from 22 to 23, the dealer had to put in a new order for that 22 order. But on Bronco, Ford pushed that 22 order in as a 23 for you as a dealership and give it a Party 99. So you had to be very careful on which model was being done that way and which wasn't. Super Duty, they did the same thing. You had to put a new order in for Super Duty. So Maverick and Super Duty ran on the same system, but some of the other models didn't. And so you just had to confirm those, which was nice.
Yeah. Which
So that,
dealerships kind of get, you guys seem to get the stink eye sometimes because you're the front of house sort of, but people, they don't realize it's not cut and dry how each manufacturer does things. I mean, and then like you're saying, within each sort of partition of that company, they seem to just all have their own way of doing something.
yeah. So
And what a nightmare for you guys.
yeah. So you have to, and that's, I've been, of course, I always read the dealer news bulletins, and most dealerships are on top of everything. They make sure they pay attention to those and everything. And a lot of people ask, how come you know the stuff and my dealership doesn't and everything? And it's just a matter of I'm very diligent to check for my dealer news updates every week and every day, actually, and stay on top of everything. So I do it daily so that I can do videos, because it helps me out, and getting the exposure for the channel, but also, getting the information to the customers, to the people too, and helping people out on the Maverick Truck Club and, Bronco 6G and those places, with information. So
so has your dealership now seen the value of what you're doing over there? I mean, because you were saying earlier, it was kind of new. They really didn't know what was going on. And, I used to sell vintage guitars in the 90s, and right when the internet was coming out, nobody knew. Like, I kind of thought, if I just didn't have the brains of how to put a website together back then, but I was like, you can have a global audience. Are they seeing now that you guys are maybe converting orders that are not within your region? Like, people are coming to you because they're seeing the value that you're bringing on the website?
Oh yeah, they have for years. So I have really good support from the dealership. So
That's awesome.
Because they've kind of shifted. They've, basically at the beginning of 22, they said, okay, we want you to just focus, on doing videos, so they took a lot off my plate. We have BDC manager that kind of handles that and some other things and such, so that I could focus more on video content. And then I think it was about the first year. Well, that was then, because then they actually also gave me an assistant, which is my daughter. So, which I requested, but
and that's who we see. That's who we see in the show with you.
Yep, she started coming on the show with me the last couple weeks.
Awesome.
And so she's she's been working at the dealership. She's been doing basically BDC stuff and everything, and being her father, I know a little bit about her organizational skills, and which takes a lot with the way I do things and everything, and like to have it done. It's very important. So so that's been a nice benefit, because then I can start pumping out more video content and such. And then, because I do the live stream Tuesday night, but then on Facebook on Thursday night as well, I do a 1 hour, Q&A. They can just ask me questions or whatever. But
nice. Yeah. I've seen that. Clearly you're having fun doing it, right?
Yeah. So
Asking a loaded question, you're hoping the answer is what you're looking for.
No. Because people don't realize on this side of the screens, there is a lot of work that goes into that. You just don't push in face or YouTube and suddenly you have an audience. Like, you have to work your tail off for it, and you have to kind of know what you're talking about. I say kind of because I only halfway know what I'm talking about. Unlike you guys.
And I'll 100% admit that he knows more about all of this than I do. I handle the other pieces of the puzzle.
Right. She keeps me in line.
I do.
So the which one is the bigger audience for you, you think? Is it Facebook or is it YouTube?
YouTube. Yeah. So we actually started doing Facebook because they saw how much I was doing on YouTube and the exposure. They're like, hey, we need that over there. And what they wanted me to do, start putting my videos on, uploading them onto Facebook instead of using a link, because Facebook doesn't like the links. They want the video. Right. And I said, I can't cut any of my videos down to the size. They were like, oh, we need like a 2-minute video or 3-minute. Nope. No, I'm not doing it. Not going to do it. So then
because you're known for these long answers, these appropriately long, but I mean that like they're detailed answers. I mean, you can't, people come to you for that. Everybody on YouTube seems to have their own little niche about it. And your niche is, like you said earlier, you break it down. You can sub break it down and keep breaking it down. And where there's a lot of people, like for me, that would drive me crazy. And I have to cover too many vehicles, but we love the Bronco. So that's why we kind of do this. But I can only imagine the effort that it takes for you to the details. Like that would drive me insane.
Yeah.
100%.
And I'm like that. I'm kind of in the attention to detail. It's when I got into sales, I wasn't planning on doing it for very long. So it's like I said, it's family owned. So my brother-in-law is the general manager. He's the GM.
Oh, nice.
And so so when I started, I'm like, I don't know how to sell cars, but I had lost my job. I needed a job. And so I'm like, well, this will work until I can. So when I left the dealership, I grabbed brochures and said, I'm going to learn everything about these cars. I'm going to learn, all the benefit, everything. And so I've always been into that. I mean, I remember guys used to come to me and, hey, I need to pass my Ford test for this model. And I'm like, nope, I'm not taking your test for you.
No, you have to take it.
Yeah.
But,
then you'll never know it.
Well, and those guys don't realize if you're the sales people or the front of house. So if you set the tone of like, let me go ask somebody, that doesn't work, man. You need to be sharp. You need to be on it about this. And luckily for you guys, they took cars away. So luckily they limited it slightly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say the live stream was actually not even my idea to do. It was the viewers. I mean, because I did a video on, I thought, hey, well, I'm going with these Maverick videos. I'm going to do one on, because I have a Fusion hybrid. I'm going to do one on the hybrid technology you would expect on a Maverick. Right. And so I pretty much drove the Fusion and talked about how the hybrid motor will work, what can they expect and that kind of thing. And I had it go live as a premiere video on YouTube, which means that it's a pre-recorded video, but you get to chat with them. Right. So you can answer their questions. And I could not keep up with all the questions. That thing went live and I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, do you guys want me to do this? Maybe I can answer questions live next week. So then that was episode 1. I answered questions live and didn't look back from there. It just took off and more people got in there. And so it's kind of crazy.
Do you ever go back and look back at those early live shows?
I probably better not. I do it a long ways. So.
Yeah. Well, I do occasionally because I started doing lives in 2018 on my Nissan channel they used to have. And I'll go back every once in a while and I'm like, oh, wow, man, I've come a long way of like, and I still have the and the, bumbling around a little bit. Yeah. But it's night and day different. And then we're probably only doing a quarter of what we should. So imagine if we really put effort into this. Thank you viewers for sticking around. But
yes,
I get some people sometimes that'll comment on a video that I did in 2015 or 16 that's still out there because I don't delete any of them. I just leave them.
Yeah.
And they're like, you say and this and that a lot. And I said, yeah, I've fixed that in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's funny. We will run into that from time to time where people will come through and maybe they just kind of got in like a playlist or something and it'll have videos from however many years, a few years ago. Cause you said there was one the other day that you were just like, this video was from, somebody was questioning like knowledge on the video, something on the video. I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was like, you do know that this is not applicable anymore. And you're just like, right. It was then though. Like it was
the date of the video.
Right. Like it made sense then and it was applicable then, but it's not the case anymore. Like it's just funny that people don't necessarily pay attention to what the dates are of when some of those videos are made and respond accordingly, I guess. And I'm pretty nice. I've had a lot of members because I do special content for my members and it's kind of fun, actually. I probably almost enjoy those videos more than I do the regular videos I do. And because ours is like kind of like yours, it's $5 for membership. And so I do a little lot walk with them on Saturdays and they'll see what's on our lot. And I'll throw in there, here's what I'm thinking about talking about on the live stream this next week. So they kind of get advanced information of what I'm thinking about and that kind of stuff. But I enjoy
shape it too.
I'll talk things about what, I mean, it's more, what I really kind of things that I think, my opinions and things more that I'll do than I would do on the live stream. So
very cool.
And so those are a lot of fun to do, but so you get some of that in there. And so I can kind of talk about some of that stuff because it gets a little weird. Some of those people, when they say that, I'm real nice on how they, I try to be nice to them, but I had somebody actually reach out to me. I probably shouldn't mention it, but I'm sure he doesn't watch this if he doesn't watch my live stream. So I had a dealership call me because I do talk help dealers out a lot. And there are a lot of great dealers that go, hey, thanks for this video and that kind of thing. And which is great that I can help, not only just help customers, but also some of the dealers too, that it's maybe kind of fuzzy on the information. But I had one that they had asked me about, the customer had asked about priority codes and everything. So Sarah actually read the question. She laughed because she knew the answer and she thought it was ridiculous. The dealership didn't know that, and that the response, and I laughed. And so anyway, the customer is like, okay, this is the right answer. I'm gonna send this to my dealership. And they watched the video and they were not happy. I got phone calls, like the front receptionist was calling me and everything else. It didn't go over real well, but yeah. So anyway, but you know, what's funny is I tried reaching out and he never called me back. So he must have figured out I was right. I don't know.
Right. Like, guys in the comments, go ahead. If you have questions for Mr. Tim, go ahead and remember, put question in front of your question. So Kelly, it's easier for Kelly to kind of pull them in and out of here. But Kelly, I think you've probably got some earlier questions. I seen you were tagging some stuff.
Yeah. Let me look and see what I have. There was a thank you in here. I'm priority 2 now. So I agree that Ford is trying to make sure us all reservation get built ASAP. Thanks for the info on that. So he was kind of talking about those, priority codes, making sure it goes from that 99, and also talking about all of that as well.
Yeah, because on the Maverick, what they did is once you're 99, you switch it to 10. Then the ones that were canceled, because they had canceled orders. So they had some that had a VIN number and already scheduled to be built, and they had to cancel those because they couldn't build.
Oh, wow.
So then to do that, they did push those orders over because we couldn't order at the time. And then once dealerships confirmed them, switched them from 99 down to 10, then they immediately made them priority 2s. So they would be looked at first, which made a lot of sense. But yeah,
so I'll get to this real quick, because it was early. Where's it at? So Josh Hamilton says Tim was one of the first to ride the trails at Off-Rodeo, Texas.
Is that the trainer, Josh?
Yeah. It's Josh.
Yeah, Josh Hamilton.
He's my trainer. Yeah, it was fun. We were very fortunate. They had offered out to the dealerships could go, like the first day that they opened it up down there. They opened it up for dealers for the Bronco, your Bronco people and everything. And so they said, we can take 2 people from your dealership. And so my general manager says, our Bronco team consists of, I think it was like 8 of us, consists of 8. If we can't all go, none of us are going. And so they said, okay, bring all 8. So we got,
nice.
We got very lucky. So we were to be able to take us all. And Josh was one of the ones that was down there. All of our trainers. There's some great trainers.
Josh has a follow-up to that. He says, what was your favorite part of the Off-Rodeo?
For me, because I had never done any of this before, was just the knowledge of learning how to do everything. So the beginning part where they're going through all the different aspects and using the different the different modes and everything, and knowing when you're in certain situations what to do and that kind of stuff. I can't remember what they called it now at the beginning, but that part I think was the biggest thing. The trail ride was great and was a lot of fun, but I think for me, this is the way I am, learning all the mechanics about everything early on.
You're buying the numbers guy. You got to know those numbers.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that, because he's trying to explain to me. I've got a decent knowledge when it comes to like the workings of the vehicle and things like that, obviously, or we wouldn't be here. But I'll ask him about certain things and be like, so tell me again. Like, I couldn't understand. He told me many times about lockers, like what a locker is, what it does, and things like that. I just know that it's going to help me in certain situations. But the fact at our Off-Rodeo, because I went to the ladies only Off-Rodeo, and they explained how the distribution of the energy and all these other things, and like it finally clicked to me, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Just like the button.
It does. It clicks just like the button. So I agree. I loved the technical part of it too, of them explaining why we use these things and, certain situations and angles and all of that. So
yeah, that was, because we did buy one, I still have not used mine. Hopefully it's not, I know at one point it's like, if you don't use it in a year, then it's not there, but I think I can still go, but I want to go and take my wife so that she can enjoy it. So I think once she goes too with me, then she'll want to do it more often, and we can get out and actually do some. But
100%, there's 100% going to there.
We have one place in Kansas that I know of that we can actually go.
Oh, Disney. There's Disney in Kansas. big off-road park.
I don't think they're not too far from I guess it depends on where in Kansas.
Well, Disney's
Badlands not far.
No. Disney's the big place in Kansas for off-roading. Which one would you go to now? Because they only had the one when you were first going. Would you try a different one?
We've had some of our managers go to the one in New Hampshire, and I think that's probably one I'd want to go to. Plus, I have some my moderator for YouTube channel lives up in Maine, so I thought I could make a trip up that way and go and see them. I did get a chance to go up and see Maine a little bit once, and it was a lot of fun. So that's what either Maine or otherwise Texas was good, but New Hampshire, not Maine, but probably go to New Hampshire.
Yeah,
that's going to be more towards the terrain that we're going to probably have in Kansas than any of these others.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Texas was pretty comparable to the wheeling that we do. It's just it was less tree-y than we're used to.
Tree-y.
Tree.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it.
What do you got here, Kelly?
So American Film Production says, sorry for interrupting the conversation. This one came in a little while ago. But some of the 23 orders got chip hold status and still in production. Any idea of when they will get released? So I guess this is kind of a general question.
Yeah.
If Tim knows the answer, or if Allie knows the answer.
I wish I did. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell on that, just when they're going to get them. We're seeing more and more. I actually talked about it in my live stream. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. Talked about how, here's all the things that Ford's trying to do to help, get these vehicles out and get them released. And to do that, they're taking features away from vehicles. And a lot of people are frustrated about that. But, they're getting vehicles, produced. They're getting them moved by doing it, taking, the amplifier, reduced amplification or whatever, and different things like that. And, taking, some of them, they're even, I think they're trying to take out chips that maybe they think won't matter as much to, more convenience, so that they can put chips in the other places that are, important and required and that kind of thing. But I really don't know.
Were you surprised to hear that Ford's even thinking about taking away like the speakers? Like that was the thing that came out this past week of that they're actually looking at. I think it's sort of them going, we have a horrible sound system, and they sort of admitting to it. And like, well, we see people are just changing these anyways. What if we didn't add them?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's one of the ones I mentioned last week was the subwoofer the reduced capability or whatever, I think is what they said on it. And some of them are deleting the subwoofer and that kind of thing, which kind of floors me. I think, if they can do some things to where they can be put back on later, like some originally, and I don't remember if that's the case, but originally like on the SUVs, they were going to take out the rear climate controls, you can still control it from the front for them, on the Explorer and the Expedition. But take that off, and I was told you could get it put back on later. Well, if we can get it on later when parts become available, that kind of thing, great. Let's do that. I know, like on the Lightning, the heated steering wheel, has to be removed, and they said that can be retrofitted later. And that's great, but removing things completely that can't be, that's where I think it's frustrating.
Well, the credits, I know General Motors they were offering like a $50 credit for removing things, and it was like, how that's not even worth like $50 in a car you don't even notice. So that's kind of a slap in the face.
I've laughed about some of them that were, like, okay, wait, you're going to give that one 500, but this other one only like 50. Really? It's like, so it's like going to cost a lot more than that.
Right.
But, yeah.
So Flo said he did a very in-depth breakdown on the Bronco, and he was the first one I was watching. So
as in Tim.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was getting there.
Sorry.
So Flo wanted to say he appreciated that for you. So
appreciate it. Yeah, I try to get those out as quick as I can, and I'm able to do that a lot of times. But on them,
I think we know the answer to this question. Zach N says, question, delivery from map to customers? No, no map to customers. No. I know people that we've had viewers that their dealership is right across the street from map, and
And it's
they
literally-
cannot go to, and it's literally like they could walk to the to map from their dealership,
and they still
and they
get
can't.
slapped with $1,500 delivery fee,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
just-
hilarious.
I mean, it evens out is
Yeah,
what they're trying to do, it even across all the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we even have like, I mean, for us, it's actually a little bit of a distance, but from Kansas City, once you get to Kansas City, you're like, hey, can we just go get them? But nope, they won't even let us get them.
Yeah, because the rail yards are probably international trade zones, and it's just it's very, you can start getting into federal issues then.
Yeah, I know that was one thing that Mitchell had told us from Town and Country Ford is that, you know, because we've had viewers that said, oh, my dealership just went ahead and went to the rail yard and just picked up my truck because they were waiting so long for truck drivers to get there to pick it up. And Mitchell was like, that can't happen at ours because ours is literally what it ships in and out of there. You can't even get close to the vehicles on the rail cars and all of that. It just has to do it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, maybe if like, I know in Kansas City, they were parking a lot of them in like the raceway and different places like that, you know, and maybe if they're far enough away, you know, and they're located, that might be a situation. But yeah, it's, I don't know. It's difficult. We have a Maverick that was built in July, and it has yet to leave the plant. Wow. It's been released since September. It's been sitting at ramp 54, and I can't get anything accomplished. I've emailed and called as many people as I can think of, and the poor people, they just, you know, we can't get anything done. So
eventually it'll happen like the mid of 23, and you've got a 22.
Well, the 23s have actually shipped out, and it's a 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're down to like 3 22s left to show up, and all those are in transit but hers. And theirs hasn't left, but we have some 23s that are in transit.
That's crazy.
Wow.
But we've seen that happen from time to time. We'll see, especially on F-150, we'll see 23s, you know, en route, especially when there's different plants building them. You know, there could be one plant that's still finishing up 20, I don't know, maybe just ship it out or whatever. But so I think that's the other issue too, is not just the maybe waiting on chips. Sometimes it could be the fact that it's just it's waiting on the, you know, kind of a bottleneck of getting it shipped out too.
Well, I know from working for Nissan, I worked in their plant here locally. Vehicles sometimes get wrecked, believe it or not, on these yards. And I have a feeling sometimes that might happen as well. If they get damaged and Ford's like, well, now what do we do? Especially because with reservations and, you know, it's a new way of doing business for all these companies now. Like you said earlier, you know, you would take in a couple custom orders, but it really was like, well, what the dealer has is kind of what you buy. And you start, you know, some of these vehicles, they do get damaged at the manufacturing facilities. So maybe.
Yeah.
But I would think that maybe there would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys might see more of information on that if there was damage for hold at the yard or things like that. Do you guys see stuff like that if that were to happen? Would you see that in any of the tracking?
No, I don't. Well, we have seen some of that where maybe something is damaged and it's held up because it needs that. I don't know. I think they try to keep that much on the wrap as they can.
Yeah.
Sure. You know?
Yeah, they don't want to get out too far for sure that those things happen. But I mean, you've got porters that are expected to fly these vehicles around the parking lots and in their into their parking spots, and they're expected to do so many vehicles just like everything else in the manufacturing process. So it would be stupid of us to think that doesn't happen from time to time.
Well, and then even on the lines, when I was with Nissan, we had a Nissan Xterra get hung up and they were transferring it to the final line. It's a lift that brings it over. It got stuck and crashed in the cage, and all the engineers had to come in and they just start ripping it up. They have these like what are the
Jaws of Life,
and they just start ripping these vehicles up to get them out of there because time is money.
The line's down.
At the time, I think it was $9,000 a minute that it cost Nissan for that line to be down. So things on the line can happen too that would cause, you know, your VIN could have been your VIN.
But he's saying this one's been sitting on the ramp.
Right. No, I'm just for people watching it can happen. Trust me, anything can happen with these things. What you got, Kelly?
So Jonathan Fald says, question, Bronco is built in Michigan, but why isn't there an off-rodeo in Michigan?
Be a lot easier to move those Broncos.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, guys, like having grown up in Michigan, there wasn't a huge mindset of off-roading and wheeling and all of that when I was growing up. If you If you did that, it was you went mudding or you went four-wheeling. Like there wasn't a vehicle base. Now that is starting to be, because obviously we saw Hollyoaks and things like that. And there's a few parks. Correct me if I'm wrong, Allie, but I would think that that would be kind of the reason why Michigan wasn't the case. Tim, do you have any idea or any thoughts on it either?
Know. Allie would probably know more than I do. I know that she's pretty in the know on a lot of that. But.
Yeah, so I would think that that's probably the case with that one. Would be that it's really just they're trying to figure out a park that would make sense for it. And like to your point, the weather isn't always fabulous up there.
Yeah. I'm surprised that this is a question, Kelly, that nobody's really asked yet. And I'm kind of surprised is Tim, I've got to pull this out here. This is a Cincinnati Bengals helmet, and we've owned your Chiefs for the past year or so. So I only do this because I see Tim in his chats, man. People, they love college football, and they will give Tim all kinds of hell in his chat.
Oh yeah. So I got a big fan that's from Tennessee, and so he brought me Tennessee stuff, and I'm cool with that because one of my favorite NFL players was Reggie White.
Oh yeah,
and because I'm actually a Packer fan, not a Chiefs fan, but
that's a tough to be in your state, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know, maybe it's tough to listen to the Chiefs fans anyway. But so anyway, but when the Tennessee basketball, of course, KU. I grew up in Lawrence, so I'm a KU fan, and Tennessee beat KU in basketball just not that long ago. I'm like, I'm not going to hear this. I'm going to hear.
I remember that live stream because I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I knew it. So, but it's all fun. So,
anyway. Well, let's see.
Just pick one.
Okay. Let's see. David is asking, Tim, Ford made a big deal about adding the subwoofers for the standard in 23 sound. Now they're backing off from that and removing it standard as 23. Like, what's the deal there, man?
Yeah, I that's actually one of I do a video that goes over the changes for each model year after I've done a complete life from the year before. And that was one of the things that I mentioned. I'm like, well, people complained about the audio. So it sounds like Ford's beefing up and listening to customers, and now here they are backing off of that. So, I'm sure that was their intent was to have a better audio sound system and everything. Yeah. But, things change. I mean, we got to remember that a lot of the stuff, Ford doesn't make it all there. They get a lot of that stuff from people. And if they're not fulfilling their contract and what they said they're going to do, there's not much they can do.
Oh yeah. And remember, it's called Michigan Assembly Plant, not and because people lose sight of that sometimes. They don't realize like most of this vehicle, it's stamped in the plants, but for the most part, a lot of the components are not built by Ford. You may see Ford, FOMOCO on the side of it, but guess what? Like the axles, like we've seen some failures of people off-roading and stuff, but it may say Ford Motor Company on it, but it was built by Dana or whoever built the Transfercase. Like, of course, ultimately Ford gets the bad rap for it, but not everything is, Ford design.
Right. And some of those things, it is the companies they're working with that aren't fulfilling what they said they could do for them. Like I do know that like the Max Recline seats on like a Platinum F-150 and some of those things that are being taken off isn't because of a chip, but I think it's more because of it's a part from the company that they can't get them, can't get enough of them, and so that's been some of the problems. So, just kind of
here's another new constraint: no subwoofer. Yeah, I don't get that one.
And where I get a little confused sometimes, that's, they put those in the order guide, and they'll say they're required option, but then it'll say when there's an issue. So we don't know, like, it's really hard, even as us for dealers, to stay on top of, when are these required to be taken off their orders. And so, I mean, it's frustrating because it's like, well, and how do you know if it's going to be an issue or not? But I mean, if it's required, Ford will take it off for them, but they don't always let us know. I mean, they'll tell you in one memo, and then that they're going to take it off or something. But too, sometimes, like on the Maverick, I saw that like there was one of the things on that one was removing one of the remote keyless entry keys. So you have one manual key and one remote key.
Oh,
and it was on the order guide, and so I had to reach out to the brand manager, which on the Maverick has just been a wealth of. I have him on speed dial, so he'll answer my phone calls. It's really cool.
Nice.
But he, he says it's there in case we have to, but at this point in time, we don't plan to. And so, so sometimes it's put on the order guide, but they don't have to implement it yet. So, but they want to have that code there so they can keep production going. So,
Nice.
so we just don't know. And like, I mentioned a bunch last week, I think it was last week, and it's hard to tell which of those are implemented. And it's hard sometimes to keep up on all these because there are been so many lately.
I'm sure.
Guys, we have over 100 people watching this live stream right now, and only 69 likes. If you just would smash that like button for me, the algorithm once again would say thank you to that, and I would as well. So,
And if you're if you're on mobile, you have to minimize the chat to be able to go like it or reach out. So
yes.
have to put that one.
Tim actually has a nice breakdown when he's asking for these things. He's very professional. He has this thing
Oh,
pops up.
look at there.
I know.
We could learn a few things.
Well, we can. YouTube Car Spotters Guide is asking question: will Ford bring the Ranger-based Everest to the United States as an Explorer? It's because it's set up from the Bronco 4-door. I don't think SUVs are tough, man, because all these manufacturers want SUVs. They seem to want soft SUVs. To get a Bronco was really like a shot in the dark for Ford to want to do that. And clearly the demand was there for it. But I don't know that. I think the Everest is a great looking vehicle, but I just don't know that in their lineup anymore does it make sense, because Ford, and Tim, you can speak on this, Ford really wants to go EV. And I don't know if you continue to bring gasoline powered vehicles in.
Well, I think the way they've set themselves up right now is having the two divisions. They still plan to go pretty heavily still in the gas.
Yes.
There's still some things that I've kind of mentioned on some of those vehicles that I really do, do wish that they would, make it available on lesser models like the hybrid, like they did with the Maverick. They made that available on their base trim, but still, like on the Explorer, you have to go up to limited to get a hybrid. So I'm like, why not make that available on like the SE or whatever, Is
some of that because the Explorer's starting to, I won't say it's old, but it's been out for a little bit. Is that some of that is just failure to adapt fast enough, maybe? And with the newer vehicles, because customers' needs and wants have changed so rapidly in the past 5 years, like with the introduction of just hybrids in general become more popular. These manufacturers, they're purchasing out stuff for years in advance. They have contracts with all these manufacturers. Do you think maybe Explorer was just sort of caught in that we can offer it, but we're not ready for it at the time of development?
I don't know. I mean, I think right now, anyway, I think that they don't, like this last year, I don't even think they made a change at all this last year. When I did that, because I think Explorer was the one I was thinking of, maybe that and Edge, where they didn't make one change, not a feature delete or a feature add at all from 22 to 23. And I was like, really? So I don't know. It's almost like they, aren't, hey, this is a vehicle that will sell, put it out there, but we're not going to focus in on making significant changes to it right now or something. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, Ford's already said, I think they plan to have a third row electric vehicle soon. So I think that's their next thing. So we'll see if that's going to end up being, they claim they're not going to electrify any current ones, but so we'll see if they come up with different names, but we'll see. We need to start names that they've continued in the past.
Well, with F-150, they were able to electrify that real quick, but I think for that you had Teslas and Rivians and some of these other brands that have been years in developing their EV trucks, and I think it was just real simple for that one. But I agree with you. I don't see them, for any reason wanting to convert those right now. And of course, it was in the news today. It was going around that there's already talk of a 7th generation Bronco, and there's the EV version and a gas hybrid powered version. So EVs here, unfortunately, I don't personally feel we're ready for it just yet. But sometimes big change happens whether you want to or not. So
yeah, I I did get a Lightning. I did put that's the one I did put a reservation the first night right away. I did get one of the first ones at the dealership, and I did get mine. And I love driving. Of course, 90% of my driving is to and from work, around town, that kind of thing. So I do all mine plugged in. But I mean, I've kind of been interested into the EV for a while, you know, and everything. But I will say the roads around Kansas aren't ready for them yet. So I towed my daughter moved last week, and so I towed. I used the Lightning. I says I want to see how it works. I had a car hauler, enclosed car hauler. We loaded up, and I drove the Lightning to Junction City, to Fort Riley and back, and it's like 50 miles there, 50 miles back. And I made it, but that was about it.
So, it was close.
Of course.
Well, Hoovie's Garage here on YouTube.
Left.
Yeah. Hoovie's Garage here on YouTube, big YouTube channel in your area. Yeah, they had a Lightning, and yeah, it was amazing once you put a little bit of weight behind those, like it's not practical, I think, just yet. I think for like normal truck people, like you have it and you just need to take something to a store or something, you know, big item. I think they're perfect for that. But I am seeing them on construction sites though, which is kind of mind boggling to me. So, but
then, I mean, they are set up. I mean, you have, I don't know, I have so many, I can't count all outlets, at least 10 outlets in that thing. And I mean, the power is there. It's like a human battery, you know, just a big battery, you know, and I mean, it would work great on a job site. There's times where I've used it and said I didn't, you know, I would never use this. And then I'm like, here, you know what? I'm too far away from the house, but I have my truck. So let me just back it up a little bit. And there we go, you know, it's great. And so I love it. And so it's just a matter of time. We just need more chargers, especially in Kansas. That was my thing. There's a charger in Salina, a DC fast charger on the north side of town, but you have to go almost to Kansas City to get another charger. It's too far. They're not close enough together. I mean, you pass through a couple cities on the way to Fort Riley, and there's not a charger. It's like, this is crazy.
That was going to be my question in regard to chargers for you in Kansas. I know you said that you're not ready, like your state's not ready, and I totally get that. We're actually pretty fortunate that we have multiple chargers in our town, but our town we're a small town outside of Nashville, and we've gotten kind of big, you know, we're a little sub-city ourselves really anymore. But I can imagine, like, in those different cities, to your point, like from you know, your town to the next major city is when you have for the next charge. So that's going to be really tough to sell to everyone across the country when the infrastructure isn't ready for it. It's not there.
Which I think is why Ford wanted dealerships to sign on, because one of the requirements is you have a DC fast charger at your dealership. So that way that immediately just opens up. Look at all those fast chargers now we have.
Well, I think, you know, I was reading something today where I really think the U.S. is going to have to come up with a standard. And unfortunately, I think for Ford and all the big companies, Tesla, unfortunately, I think Tesla is more of going to be your fuel station than car company at some point, because they were so smart. They have charging everywhere. But unfortunately, you've got to have there's an adapter I think you can use. But I think the biggest thing in EV, the struggle is right now is one company being dominant and saying, this is how we do it. Because you don't go to a fuel station and you're like, oh, I can't plug in here. I've got a triangle, you know, gas handle instead of the circle one. So I really do think at some point the federal government is going to have to jump in. And of course, the current administration is not big on Tesla right now, so I doubt they would do it. But at some point, somebody's going to have to say, look, we want to do this, adapt, or, you know, move on. Because at some point, too, they're going to get into federal subsidies for this. And that's a big thing for you, like in your areas, you know, because not clearly your area is not capable of handling this because there's no EVs really probably there. I mean, I'm sure there's some Teslas around, but there's no reason to push. So you're going to need the government to step in and say, hey, let us help you get set up and go from there.
Well, and it's like you said, that you're more of a farming community. So really the market is not at this point, it is not for the farm trucks. It is not for, do you guys have, I think you do in Kansas, you guys have farm license plates for some of your vehicles too. Do you in Kansas? Because I know some states do. So they're like farm license plates that they're only able to drive on farms, and they're also the only kind of road driving that they're able to do is actually to like the co-op where they get the farm level fuel. I can't think of what it's called, but do you guys have Kansas?
I don't know. I don't see them. Of course,
Okay.
I wouldn't probably. I mean, if they're only.
If they're
I don't
just
know.
typically that.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to answer that last question because I think I have the answer.
Oh, yeah. Let me go back.
I saw it pop up there.
There it was.
Yeah. So I think the reason why there is that because F-150 is built at several different plants. Certain plants have certain colors that others don't, and certain, like the Power Boost, I assume, I can't remember off the top of my head, is built at a certain plant, and that color won't be available at that plant. So we had a customer that wanted a 5.0 in race red, and we couldn't, in Lariat or something, and they could not get it built because he had figured out that the Kansas City did not have race red color, and that's where the 5.0s were built or something like that. So it probably has something to do with what plant the Power Boosts are built in, that color isn't in that plant. So,
well, that's good. YouTube Car Spiders guy says, EV trucks, if I buy one, what do I do with my 25-foot Airstream when I pull up to the charger?
Right.
Well,
it's a good call.
So TFL had that issue. They were testing these things, and they were towing a kind of a long trailer, and they were blocking up all the EV chargers because there was nowhere for them to park, and they had to charge. So there's a lot of things that I don't think anybody, maybe in DC, and I'm not political on this, but I just don't think I think sometimes the politicians are so far out of what normal people use their vehicles for that they don't know how to mandate things like that.
And when they first came out, they were Teslas and such. They didn't pull trailers. So
right. That's what I was going to say is that it wasn't, when it first came out, it wasn't that for sure.
Well, now they pull Frito-Lay and Pepsi.
Right.
Let's see. So Wild Raptor 23, I will say if parts are available, 100% of the people who met the requirements as of November 21st, my birthday, by the way, will get their Broncos, including Granger. Like the Granger thing, I know you clearly you don't, didn't deal with everybody else in dealerships. What's your kind of opinion? Do you feel like they sort of were playing a game and then got caught playing that game, and now they have, because at one time I was told by Granger they had like 700 or 800 reservations.
Well, and it was in an article there were like 700 or 800 reservations.
Well, here's what I think it's the way that Ford did is there's a little weird. So, Granger went out and they marketed themselves and they got a bunch of orders. In my opinion, they did a good job. People would say we did the same thing on Maverick. I mean, I just did what I did on all the other models, didn't do anything differently, except I got onto the different forums, I was answering people's questions. And then all of a sudden people wanted to just order from us because we didn't actually discount any of ours off. We didn't do anything any other dealerships already doing. But they wanted to work with us just because of the transparency that we have and such. But, Granger, I don't think they did a bad job. They went out and they got, leads, they got orders, right? And when Ford did that now they're starting to do it, but they didn't tell, people until after the reservations all came in and after orders came in that, hey, here's the number you're going to have. And it's like, wait a minute, that's, you tell us to go ahead and take orders and everything else. Don't tell us there's going to be any kind of restrictions until it's too late. They did the same thing with Maverick for this year. We ended up taking over 700 Maverick orders. And it wasn't until after we'd already taken about 500 of those orders that they said, here's your allocations you're going to have for the year. And then we were like, what? Wait a minute, you can't do that. And then they said, don't take more orders than what you're going to allocations for. So they kind of made the dealerships look bad, because they took the orders, and they didn't tell us. They did for Super Duty, though. They did that. So Super Duty, we told customers we already have enough orders for our local customers that we can't take any online. I did my videos. I put it right out there. It says we're not taking any orders, just our local customers because we only have enough allocations for that. Knowing that ahead of time was great, but Ford didn't do that on the Bronco, and they didn't do that on the Maverick and some of those others. And so I know Granger's being looked at possibly, as being, terrible that they did this, but I think they didn't. I mean, what any dealerships, you tell them in sales, go out and get the sale. Don't get the order, and then you tell them you can't fulfill it. And last year in 21, or well, I guess it was 22 model year, you actually got allocations based on how many customer orders you got it. That's how you got allocations. So
Wow.
yeah, so you take the orders, right, so that you could get allocations, and then that way you can get fulfill those allocations, and then that helped you out. So the reason we're doing so well in our region, which Granger is actually in the Kansas City region with us, and so you would take those orders, and then they fulfill those, and then you would get those vehicles would come in. Well, then now this year it's based on sales volume. So what's been helping us as a dealership is that we took a lot of orders early on, and then we're able to fulfill those orders. And now we're actually able to get allocations because of orders that we took last year. So, but they're not doing that this year. And they didn't do that for the Bronco in the first year. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think, much like everybody, the pandemic probably sped up things that were in motion, but they weren't ready completely to go the way they needed to. And now they're kind of like, people found loopholes. And I've tried to explain this from day one. They have to balance orders too. I know everybody initially thought, my reservation number means everything. No, it doesn't mean anything really, because they have to across the country. If the biggest states, the initial orders were California and Texas. If those were the states that dominated Broncos, somebody in Connecticut or in your area would have never sniffed one. And that's just how it is. They have to spread these out fairly. You've got to think of the dealers as well. I know my buddy Tim Esterthal with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. His dealership never even saw a Bronco till he got a press loan. And he likes to take, because he's in such a small town in Nebraska, he likes to take the press loans to the dealerships because a lot of times we'll never see these vehicles. Yeah. So, it's a nightmare. 2 Explorer Videos says, all electric family here in eastern Nebraska was driving a lot with a trailer pulled by either a Ford or a Rivian. That's awesome, man. And it's people like that who are the early adapters for towing, who are going to, honestly, you're doing a service by, all these vehicles now send the information back to the mothership. They learn from you what you're using the vehicle with to make it adapt better. And so thank you for, being an early adapter to that. Tim, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've not been feeling well. So Kelly, a couple more questions and we'll let Tim go. We appreciate your time greatly, man.
Yeah. I'll check to see if
your guys' questions seem tougher than what I normally get.
Sorry about that.
Man, these guys they're in it. They know what they're doing.
That's right. Well, it's Maverick versus Bronco. I'm going to say, blue collar versus white collar. No, I'm playing. What you got there?
Cigar Texan said, can I convert my Lightning reservation to a Maverick?
I don't think it works that way.
No.
I will say, though, we have a bad dealership in our area. I have a great salesperson, and people never understand when I'm like, my salesperson was amazing. He did everything he could to physically help us, but our dealership chain is just not a good dealership chain. We were in finance, man, and our finance person, who we know, goes, you're just going to flip your vehicle, right? And I was like, what?
And we have never, ever, ever flipped a vehicle ever in our lives.
Yeah. Did you have people coming in that the orders that you knew were going to go right in and just flip these vehicles?
No.
I imagine in your town, like being so small that it probably, it's not
no. I actually mentioned in my last year a little bit ago about Maverick, though, because we did see people in Maverick once they came out, and like right now you can, they're bringing an arm and a leg, but and if people want one, they're willing to spend, 5-10 grand over, to get a Maverick, so we saw that happen with Maverick, and we're, some of ours, I think there's some people that ordered with us that were their second order, so it's like they ordered 2, and it's like, and we can't, it's hard to tell. They're not all going to be honest with us and say, I got an order with a local dealer. And and I'm like, so I actually did say something in a live stream a couple of weeks ago. I had a couple of people that emailed us and canceled after I had said that. I'm like, well, I don't want people to feel bad about that. But, when everybody, because it closed up in like less than a week on the order banks. But it's if all those people put in duplicate orders because they didn't know if their local dealership that was small could get it fast enough, or they need to go to a big dealership, and they put in these duplicate orders, or if they were going to really get 2 and then flip one, it's like, so you have that going on and you just don't know. And that's crazy. So,
yeah.
So it's hard.
one last question for you here, Tim. Is the electric block heater a commodity for Bronco? That's a tough one because I don't know if many. Obviously, people up north are going to want block heaters, but
I haven't seen that to be an issue on any of the vehicles.
okay.
So
yeah, I couldn't even on that one. I couldn't tell you what's involved to make that work right, other than you have a plug you can plug into the front of the vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about it in my videos, but I mean, we have a lot of people on Super Duties and such that don't get them, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of them
I bet diesel especially.
Yeah, and they're required to get those. But
yeah.
But yeah, I don't see that as a constraint. I haven't seen it, and I don't think enough people order it for it to be a constraint.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Well, Tim, we greatly appreciate you being on the show tonight. Like I said, I know you've done an hour and a half with us, and I know you have not felt well. So we greatly appreciate you being on here tonight. What is coming up on your show this week? What can my viewers, go over there and expect?
Well, usually it's tonight where I'm actually coming up with an idea. Sometimes.
All right, guys, give him your ideas right now.
Yeah. So actually, I don't know, because Ford came out with the information on the spray and bed liners, saying go ahead and put spray and bed liners on your trucks and everything, because we can handle them and it won't slow up your build. So I was just going to talk about that probably as hey, let's how can we figure out, whether or not what constraints we should, what things we should add and not add, and how that could affect the orders. So, even though, they're within capacity, because they kind of have a set amount of capacity that they can handle, on spray and bed liners, like on the Maverick, it's 40%. But that still means that there's 6 out of 10 are going to be not have that on it. So not having it means you probably were more likely to get scheduled than having it on there. Even though maybe they have less orders with it, if their capacity is still at a lower number, then it still could cause you. And the more of those you have on there, I mean, I don't know. So it's hard to weed through that. And so I thought about talking about that this week.
Well, Josh Hamilton says, let him know when you want to head to Off-Rodeo. So Josh is the guy for that. So you're definitely going to want to hook up with him. But Tim, we greatly appreciate it. Like we said earlier, I wish there was an easier way to say goodbye here, because we gotta talk to our people for a minute. But go over to, obviously, Tim's the big dog here. I mean, he needs all the subscriptions he can get. But if you haven't yet, go over there and check his channel out. Tim's been a supporter of ours for a while, and we greatly appreciate that. It means a lot to us. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again down the road, Tim.
Yep. That YouTube channel is at Long McArthur. So
there you go. At Long McArthur.
I know usually I come on your guys' stream as Tim Bartz, but that's over there. It's Long McArthur. So
we wouldn't know what to do if you came as Long McArthur.
Right.
Well, Tim, I say good night, and we will chat with you probably tomorrow on your stream.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Tim. Feel better, sir.
Bye.
There you guys go. That was a lot of fun. I definitely want to say, because Tim hit me up today and he said, "Man, I'm not feeling good." And
we gave him an option to out.
Yeah, and no, he's a trooper. And
he's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah, I appreciate that. I also appreciate all the super chats tonight. I want to say thank you. It's when we have a guest like that, it's hard for us to continually bring those up and say thank you, but we will in just a minute. So I don't want anybody to think we do not appreciate it. I don't even care the dollar that Honest gave us. I don't even care. Like, we appreciate everything you guys do to help support the channel. But definitely go over to, like, Tim does I think it's on Tuesday nights, and it's a long one. And if you want you want to know the wiring gauge of the vehicle, I think Tim's probably has that down for you. So if you need those kind of details, you definitely go over there and tell him we said hi. Go tomorrow, if you're over there in that chat tomorrow, and just hashtag All Terrain Nation. He'll know what that means. But anyway, so Kelly, I know we have some questions that were not Tim related, or some things housekeeping to do. I have a couple of things I wanted to bring up news wise, because there was a couple interesting things. And then sometimes Allie drops by, so I haven't seen Allie tonight, but
she's in there.
No, I'm talking about in the live chats.
I was like, she's in the chat, in
the streams. No, I saw Miss Dubois over there.
YouTube Car Spotters Guide says, "I love that T-shirt, Dave. I'll trade it for you." or trade you for it.
Oh, they're all over the internet, man. That's my Transformer days. Go ahead.
While you're looking, just do your thing, and I'll do it. I know you already said thank you for the super chats, but I wanted
Yes,
to go
I'm
ahead
gonna
and
go right
say
ahead.
thank you. Go. Oh, you're ready over there, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I'm good to go.
So YouTube Car Spotters Guide, thank you so much for the 987. Here, do with it what you want.
They
and
know-
Andy said you might dry hump it.
Well, he also said who dis.
Andy said, yeah, who does?
And tonight I've been drinking a Woodford's Reserve, and I seen somebody else was drinking that earlier, and I didn't want to be rude to the guest.
Yes.
Sometimes clearly you guys know this is our, we're hanging at the at the bar. We're just talking to everybody. So I don't always like to, push on our guests that, we're having a beverage of any sort, because you just never know.
For sure.
But
Andy Ackerman said, did Dave just admit that he's not the brains of the business?
I am the booty. So we'll leave it at that. I'm the twerker of the bunch.
Honest coming in with the $1 super chat. Thank you, sir. And I know you mentioned that already, but I got to give him a hello and thank you. And Andy Ackerman, I answered this in the chat. Thank you for the super chat, first and foremost.
Yep.
Secondly, Moab dates are not locked in yet. We have some dates to move around on our calendar and kind of lock in. So
we've actually been talking about this week, because my 23, I've got like 7 things already on my 23 schedule, and that's not including Moab.
Yeah.
And so you guys know we will be in Moab. It's nothing. We're not doing any kind of
it's not an
I'm
event.
not over promising, under delivering anything. It's just we will be in Moab, and if you're there at a certain point, we'll let everybody know.
Yep.
But it's nothing official. I'm not no event. I'm just going to have a good time, and if you're there, we all have a good time.
502 Bourbon Crew becoming a member.
Woo!
Congratulations. Welcome in.
Now he gets to see our craziness of our videos.
Quick shout out on our membership. We do have a membership. It is $5 a month. You can either do membership here, which we end up doing a vlog, or we also do membership on Patreon, where we do a few little things over there. We're starting to write some articles and things like that on the Patreon.
I'm trying to
side.
get this one wants to write more, and then I can't get her to write. So.
It's
our members will know why. Because
That's true.
It's in this week's members video. Kelly, I come downstairs. She was fixing the dryer, and I come down, and literally the dryer's in every piece possible. It was like being assembled almost. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? And you just had this cutest little puppy dog, like, ooh, like I was just trying to fix it, and it exploded.
And I did fix it.
Speaking of fixing it, look who's here.
Hey, Allie. You maybe should have given her a heads up that you were going to bring her in.
What good would that be?
Hi.
What fun would that be? Hey, Allie.
Long time no see.
I know, right?
Look.
Dude, I'm so excited. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so excited. I just
Josh went in, he said.
Oh, Josh, you want in too? All right.
This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
While you're doing that,
go ahead and do
Andy
your thing.
Ackerman, of course, coming in with a super chat there at $4.99. Who dis? And they all talked about the who dis. Jessica Dunn came in later. Terrence Mooney came in later. Bronco 78 and YouTube Car Spotters Guide, which we already talked about. Valley Dude 5000. I make sure I say hello to everybody.
I know. Sorry, Josh. I know you. I just saw your thing so I can say hi to Tim.
Jeff Dysert.
And Tim's not in here.
No. Tim.
One day we'll teach Allie how to flip that camera sideways, and then we get the whole view of that.
Right.
We'll teach you to be a professional YouTuber yet, Allie.
Oh, perfect.
But
she's the queen of reels, though. Like you have a bunch of cool reels on your Instagram.
Yeah, I like reels. That's about it.
real quick, let me finish.
She's gonna kill you.
Piss off, Mama Bear.
No, I was just going to say, check out our membership if you're interested. We appreciate anything. You don't have to, but just know that there's some other fun stuff coming along the way with that. Second thing is, we still do have our t-shirts for sale. I have not turned off the sale.
Let's say end of the month.
Yeah, we'll say it ends at the end of December. So I will tell you, limited quantity.
We sold a bunch.
We did sell a bunch. So limited quantity. So definitely make sure that you check it out now. It's under Kelly's Picks on allterrainnation.com.
And
we'll let Josh
speaking of picks, what's up, big guy? Oh, he's got it. There he goes.
There he's
Oh,
unmuted.
see, he has his camera like that too.
I know, you guys.
You guys on your cell phone.
He's got his Nashville Bronco shirt on. And I don't know if Josh can hear us or not. Josh? Ground control to Major Josh. Oh, now he's
trying to unmute and mute.
I know. Technology, man. These Bronco guys. Oh, look. See?
Look, see, that's all you got to do, Allie.
That's right. So eventually, Josh will say hello to us.
Dude, I can't hear you at all.
There it
Oh,
is.
there you are. I hear you
You
now.
can't hear us, but we can hear you.
Can you hear
Can
us?
you hear us now? No.
See, this is the fun of live TV right now. Like, you give somebody a link and you say, "Hey, jump in," and they're not, they haven't done this before.
Bronco 78, I could totally do an article, but that would have to go in the members only section for the dryer repair because that would not make sense
No, but
on an automotive article.
did you mention the whole Patreon part of that? I know you were talking.
I did.
Members. Okay.
Yeah.
But either way, guys, we greatly appreciate the support, and I'm gonna have to support Josh with I think a how-to on this. Allie, how's the north? How's the great north up there?
Gonna leave and come back.
The north is cold.
Yeah.
What's it up there right now?
Like 30s, I think. So it's really
Ooh.
not even that bad yet, but yeah, I'm just over it.
Well,
It's like we're going to Gallenberg this weekend, and I saw it's supposed to drop down to like 29 degrees, and I'm like,
it would be colder over there too because you're in the mountains. DJ Bliss 717. You got to get that crisp.
Hell yeah.
7 in there. Picked up his Raptor this evening. He's loving it. Congratulations. man.
Hell yeah.
Allie, did you see where? And I'm not saying this to rub this in the poor guy's nose, but there was a Raptor down. Did you see that?
I did see that.
And
engine out.
Yeah, and they can, they had a head issue on that thing. So let's try
Yeah.
Josh again. Josh?
Can you hear us?
No?
What the
Still can't
heck?
hear us? Oh,
Technology is fun. Well, now Josh has officially
Love
been
it.
on the show. He's just not been heard on the show.
Right.
So we can say he
He
can
really
put
just
that on
wanted
his
to pop
resume
in
now.
and say hi.
he could just come in and be like,
Yeah. Hi,
Hi,
guys.
I'm
See you
here.
later.
Yeah, bye. Deuces.
Oh, Kevin Nagg, good night from Boulder. What's up,
"Hey,
buddy?
Kevin."
Kevin,
Oh, we love Colorado.
yeah, especially Boulder. You've not been to Boulder.
I've not been to Boulder.
Boulder's such a fun town. Dave send Josh one super chat money. Right? So news. I wanted to talk about you were doing something here. Let me bring this up because this is kind of interesting. And we won't go deep into this, but Automotive News Europe, and most of you guys can't actually see. I pay for this subscription to this thing.
Unhighlight that.
I did that for a reason.
Oh,
So I
can
knew
you
where
highlight it
I-
all?
There we
That'd be great. Thanks.
So Ford is going to actually start selling their midsize SUV in select European markets starting this spring, which is kind of strange because they can't get everybody a Bronco here in the United States. So let's send more to Europe, and they're going to have the new Ranger Raptor pickup, which is being rolled out across the region right now. And they're kind of they're doing this big push for American vehicles over there, which was kind of crazy to me that they Wild Performance. I didn't, right now it doesn't seem like the USA is loved over in that region, but suddenly now Ford is going to change that. We say thank you, Ford, for
Wild Performance.
Active Adventure. There it is, Active Adventure. So I don't necessarily know what does Active Adventure mean. I mean, that could be going to the grocery.
Activate.
Well, I mean, sometimes like
Easy button.
trying to go down our main road.
Easy
here.
button. Easy button.
It's true.
Yep. But I thought that was interesting that they're actually taking a handful of American vehicles and wanting to sell them in Europe.
Well, so these are actually the taglines, but not actually the brand names or the model names.
What?
Is how I'm reading this.
Well, no, it's further down here. It does say that the Bronco SUV is coming.
No, but the way I originally read it up here, this section was that the models would be called that, but it's marketing claims, so it's not going to actually. So the Wild Performance is going to be the tagline of like, here's what we're using for this.
That's what I'm saying is that's part of their slogan for the American vehicles coming to Europe. But that did strike me as kind of funny. Once again,
yeah,
we've had many salespeople in here, and they all say it's hard to get anything right now. So the
it
idea
really is though.
Do what?
I said it really is though. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, no, but that was kind of interesting. Not a big chunk of news, but I did want to make a comment about that. Our friends over at IAG, who I think all of us here have enjoyed some IAG products from time to time. Allie, old JJ over there, they're making the best tailgate stiffener that I've seen just yet.
I
It,
have seen
actually-
that. I haven't seen it in person yet, though. I'm really hoping they have a lot of stuff at Super Cel.
They had, I'm assuming they're going to be there, but they had probably by far the best
Oh, for sure.
sales display. I know like the Max Lighter guys and all that had a bunch of stuff, their Broncos and stuff, and Wild Horses, they had, shirts and a lot of stuff. But by far, I think IAG had the best. You can buy what you want to buy right now for your Bronco.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I liked how they had people to like explain everything, because again, you have a lot of newbies. I'm still one of them, who like want the in-depth, like, okay, like, why do I need this? And they're very good at explaining either why do you need it, or hey, you don't need this, maybe you should take a look at this type of a thing, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, are we getting a redemption here? Is Josh gonna
Yeah, he must be able to hear us because
did we hear him?
Yep.
Yeah, you're a little choppy, but we hear you, Josh. What's going on, buddy?
I don't know. My headphones just were not connecting at all. I couldn't hear anything.
Well, damn technology.
And he's back.
I know.
Your face was quite funny. You were getting frustrated. It was kind of funny to see you frustrated.
and we could hear you.
I was, yeah. I went back and was watching the video. I saw you could hear me, but I couldn't hear you and look dumb as all get out. Do you like the Nashville shirt?
I do like that. What's his name? I never remember his name.
Jonathan?
Yeah,
Yes,
the
that's it.
plaid shirt guy.
Yes.
From Bronco Nation. No, I've been meaning to hook up with him and the guy he's doing the podcast with. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head either, but been meaning to hook up with those guys here.
Well, when we come down to Super Cel, we can all hang out.
Well, there we go.
For sure.
He has
Maybe
a
this time I
countdown.
can. Maybe this time I can do more than start a Bronco.
You can. You can win rock and come play with us.
That's right.
Woo!
That's right. Well, I wanted to last year. I was just in the middle of something. But Josh, what's going on, man? How are the rodeos? If you guys don't know, Josh has been a big part of like with the off-rodeos and stuff. You were at Super Cel. You seem to be the man with clearly Bronco Life 365 means something with you, right?
It does. It is like an everyday adventure, and I'm getting ready to start my new build on my new toy when it gets here shortly.
I know you were kind of talking about that. I don't know how much you can say about it, but it's going to be kind of fun, I think.
Yeah, so I've got a new Everglades coming, and I'm going to send it down to the RTR labs and let Vaughn Gittin and Lauren Healy take over control, and we'll figure out what happens, when it's all said and done. I've given them full permission to do whatever they want. So,
Oh, nice.
If it comes back pink and green, who knows? But it'll be pretty cool.
Well, the fenders might be like wings because they have a habit for that.
Correct, they do. That'll
do.
be okay with me as long as I can fit it between, the interstate lanes and the roads. I'll be good to go.
Well, and if not, you can just fly your way there.
100% faster than Amazon.
Yeah, no, I saw their early builds at SEMA in 21. Man, their stuff is really cool.
Which one was it? The one of what, like
black
50,
and neon
60?
green? No, it was at Ford's booth.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Which one of the Broncos was it?
No, it was the wide fenders.
Okay.
They were
Yeah.
really. That's the one I was leaning against when we were watching Jay Leno. We were trying to film Jay Leno.
Oh no, you were a completely different opposite side
Yes.
of that area.
Yeah, I literally was getting up on their tires, holding onto the rack, and SEMA didn't. Like
He was this guy.
Yeah, SEMA didn't like that very well.
It's okay.
That guy. I'm
Oh, yeah.
so glad I was far away from you.
No,
then
there's a
now.
live stream. You can see me. I'm like holding the camera up there. My arm's getting tired, and all of a sudden, one of the security people pulls me off the vehicle, as I should not have been on that
How
vehicle.
am I just learning about this? And this was SEMA last year.
Coder Man was with me.
That doesn't mean that I heard
No,
about
I
it
mean-
until now.
Well, you probably heard about the night we were all drinking in Vegas. So
You probably broke it to me at that point in
That's-
the night we
it's
were
the best
drinking in
time to-
Vegas.
Yeah, it's the best time to.
Yeah, and then she forgot all about it. But yeah, off-rodeos are
Right,
doing
see?
good. We're about to start winter weekends at all of the off-rodeo locations starting in January. So
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll be
nice.
open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it'll be a good party.
That's awesome.
Do you know if there are any new locations going to open up?
that you can officially talk
Ooh.
about?
No, not officially talking about no, but Bronco Raptor is coming out, so there'll be something maybe come down the live panel for that. That's something that's been in the works and people have been asking for, so we'll see what happens. I don't say they're going to turn anything down, so it should be pretty cool to see what Off-Rodeo does for that. So.
Well, there's big rumors for that since they basically announced the Raptor that they would do something like that. So I don't think that's like a big secret, but I have a feeling it's going to be out in Johnson Valley somewhere where they can just let those things eat and rip, man.
Yeah, because they were talking about.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, right. I actually already told Driven Wild Outdoors that they needed to save a spot for me in their Raptor Off-Rodeo because I am 100% going to be.
See, that would be one that I would actually be interested in.
Oh, sure. Now you want to go.
Yeah.
No, I just want to buy.
Yeah, because it's a Raptor.
Right.
Well, only
Now
the Ranger Raptor, Allie.
Yeah, he wants to go because it's a Raptor. He doesn't want to go when it's just, I've been off-roading my entire life. I know what to do. I know what these buttons are for.
Right?
No, Josh, I would be the asshole basically that would be like, you guys would tell me what to do, and I'd be like, I know what I'm doing, man. And so that's why I don't go, because I would be a pain in y'all's ass, and there's no way.
Because he's the asshole you don't want to deal with.
Well, people come that have been off-roading their entire lives, and it's a totally different experience when it's out there with other people, and it's nice because you can get on a trail with other folks that, one, maybe know what they're doing, two, that don't know what they're doing. You can help them hang out and just, be part of the crew and just do what you need to do. And we do a really good job out at Off-Rodeo, getting everybody through, every day, teaching everybody different stuff. Even if you have been doing it forever, like even us on the trail, we learn stuff sometimes from people that have been doing it longer than us. So it's nice. It's a nice mix.
Yeah, because when I've ran off-road events, I love the new people. They're so much fun to take out on the trails because to see the excitement in their eyes. I've mentioned this many times. We at Windrock Trail 22, which I'm sure Josh knows, there's a little bridge you cross to get into it. I had people freaking out in their little Nissan Xteras that
taking pictures all excited.
Oh my God, this thing did that. You're like, did what? Because
you just went over a wood bridge.
Yeah, I pulled over to the side so our group of people could catch up. And I'm like, did what? They're like, oh my God, these four-wheel. I was like, yeah, four-wheel drive is four-wheel drive, man. It'll go. Jeep doesn't own that exclusively. Trust me. Like four-wheel drive does its thing. So, but no, that would be fun. But at the end of the day, it's like I knew for her, I'd let her do that. She was going to have a blast doing it.
I'm also the diplomat amongst the relationship, as if you couldn't.
Well, that and you, I knew if I sent you there, you wouldn't get any footage of what happened. And
I got footage. I can't help that the GoPro kept overheating in the AC Bronco.
I'm not gonna lie, my phone overheated like 4 different times that day. It was freaking hot.
Bet. Yeah, no, I don't doubt
and
that.
she was on different trails than I was,
well,
and hers did it too.
Clearly,
so
y'all didn't meet there. So
I know. I'm well aware. We finally did though.
Is when we get the guys that have had Jeeps their entire lives, and they get out and go, "Dude, you couldn't do this in a Jeep. You would rattle your teeth out." Or we get them up on a rock, hit the stay bar disconnect. They're like, I'd have to back all the way back down the trail and tick everybody off that's behind me to get back on flat level ground. Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had two guys at Dealer Preview that own Jeeps their entire life, and they were talking like mad shit about how easy this was going to be and all this stuff, and I'm freaking out with Mike. And
Al, you can't say that. You can't use that word. Watch your language, man. Don't say mad. Say crazy. Say crazy fuckers, man. Come on.
No.
Stop it. Stop interrupting.
So talking all this shit, and I'm like, okay, great. Like, I'm gonna be the only girl that gets stuck out here today. But no, he was actually the one to get stuck. It was great because he didn't engage anything. He's like, well, I don't have to do it on my Jeep. I'm like, this is probably easier than what you have to do on your Jeep. And yeah, he thought he knew what he was talking about. It was great.
I mean, like I was the only one to get stuck in the sand at Holly off.
That's not fair. You've never dealt with it. You redeemed yourself though.
No, she did. I specifically put that in that video that I did showing her because she's a rock crawler, so you don't speed kills things. Like, so her approaching that, I saw when you approach that, I was like, she's not getting up that. Like it's like mud. You have to approach sand kind of like mud.
And I don't like mud.
And get into it a little bit.
I like sand better than mud, but I don't like mud.
Yeah.
Mud is fun.
Mud's too unpredictable. Yeah. Cigar Texan says, but you'll get all the stickers, Dave, if you were to go to Off-Rodeo.
That is true. And you guys know me and Bronco Nation are just like that. So I like their stickers.
Wait a minute,
I'm
Josh. When are
playing.
they opening it up that you can do more than one?
So that I'm not sure exactly. So if you've got a couple, they're talking about after the first of the year, you can start paying to go to them if you've already gone to one or more. But it's
Okay, fine. Who
nothing's
can I
been officially
bribe to
been
let me go?
released. Well, maybe if you
Bribe
connect
for
with
me
that,
too, Allie.
yeah, that
Obviously.
with Ford thing you keep posting on your Instagram stuff. Maybe they can send you to another one.
Yeah.
I'm trying. They keep saying we don't know when it's going to open. I'm talking to all
Come
the
on,
wrong
friend of
people.
Ford.
Come on, get your
Yeah,
friends to take care of you,
clue
Allie.
how to open to the public to let anybody go in because we're still so far behind on reservation orders and people just getting their stuff, just getting their VIN numbers. They want to give them a chance first before we just flood the thing and then no one can show up anytime they want. So,
do you think there would be a
I'll
big?
order another Bronco.
Well, do you think if they were to open it up, like it would be a big? Because I'm not going to poo poo on the rodeo because I really do. I think it is a needed, and I think it was very smart of Ford to do that. But Josh, I get so many emails about, hey, sign up. I'm always like, well, is it doing well? Is it not doing well? Because I probably get 5 emails a week about it,
even though we've gone.
Yeah, no, it's doing well. I think if they opened up to public, it would flood it out at first because everybody want to be in on something they can't get a hold of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting a Bronco, like you want it now, but you can't get it.
Yeah.
So it would flood it so bad that they couldn't, get anybody that has a reservation that's been waiting to be able to go in the gates for a while. So not saying it's a bad thing. I think eventually it'll open up to everybody, but for now it needs to be the way it is just so we can try to get everybody through the gate. So
I've got something I want to bring up. Go ahead and keep talking to her.
So
this is in line with it.
So Bronco 78 asked, how long do you have to use your Bronco off-rodeo credit after you have received your Bronco? Because I've heard mixed things. I've heard a year, but I've also heard that doesn't expire. Do you know off the top of your head, Josh?
So it originally was a year, and it still somewhat is in there, but they also extended it for folks that, because COVID and everything else was going on, you can still use your reservation. So like I've got my Bronco in June of last year. I hadn't used my off-rodeo because I'd seen them all, but I'm going down in June. Tyler has his set up in Mason. And I'm taking my wife Angel and some friends down to Texas Off-Rodeo that first opening weekend for Winter Wonder Weekends down there. So I've had mine over a year and, just went on there and booked my stuff. And even if you're not going to use it, let's say in a month or two, you can go on there and book it further out, but just need to get it in there as soon as you possibly can. But if you call that 1-800 number, they will let you know, hey, yours is going to expire, this way or that, or what the actual, extensions they put onto it are.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they'll work with you. I mean, everyone at that hotline has been so helpful whenever I had a call to give them, because we have order numbers, but sometimes they'll want something else, so I'll have to verify it. And they are literally the nicest people.
That's awesome.
They are. They're super. The whole team up there is pretty nice.
Yeah, I only dealt with them via email. I guess I did call them one time and just said, hey, I just wanted to follow up because I'd gotten this call, blah, 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 for the ladies off-rodeo. And they were like, okay, yeah, everything's great. Here's what you need to know, blah, blah, blah. Great. Have a great trip. It's super helpful, quick and easy to get through. Just overall great.
Well, I was trying to bring this up. So I actually got an email today from Jeep for Jeep Adventure Academy. I don't know if you guys have heard about this or not.
I know all about that.
Here we go.
Yeah, and I was trying to load this up so I could talk about it. But so what they are doing, which is kind of funny. I know that in the past they have done some things, so it's not like.
Is it in this email box?
Well, yeah, but
find it.
No, it's not there yet. I just ordered it.
Okay.
But so what they're doing is they're having one in Holster, February 23rd. It's like a couple-day thing. Phoenix, Austin, Uari, Catskills, Springfield, and the Rubicon Trail in Moab.
Ruby?
Yeah, but it's going to be near impossible to get into their kind of stuff because it's not like what you guys have done. They don't have a dedicated here's our playground and we can run you guys through it. We know how long it's going to take. But I did see that Jeep finally was reacting to the.
You have to bring your own vehicle to Jeep Academy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you come to Off-Rodeo, we're not making you tear up your own stuff if you've never done it before. We have our own each location, so we're not making you tear up your own personal toys you're paying for to go out there and play with them. So Jeep Academy is cool. I've seen people go through it. They've got locations all over the country. They set up random spots throughout the U.S. So it's not any dedicated one spot. You just kind of sign up, and then it fills up after they get number of spots, and then move to the next one.
Well, I want to.
And I think that's a great call out, Josh, in regard to not having to bring your vehicle, because I think that's a big misconception from Bronco folks that are waiting, because they'll be like, I don't have my Bronco yet. I don't know when I'm going to get my Bronco. And like, I know, Allie, you probably field questions as much as I do on the groups that go, hey, you don't have to have your Bronco yet. You just have to have a reservation and order in process. So don't feel like, because even if you did drive it, they're not going to allow you to drive your own vehicle. You have to get out of yours and get into one of theirs. So.
Yeah, so here is the this is just, I wanted to bring this up real quick since we were talking about that.
Can I bring my Bronco to the Jeep Academy?
that would be hilarious.
That would be awesome.
But you know what? I also went to the Bronco event, or the Jeep event over there in East Tennessee, and I didn't take my Bronco because I didn't need the kind of, I thought somebody
Jeep Invasion.
Yeah, the Jeep Invasion. I thought somebody will throw something at it. They'll be stupid. I
took mine up there.
Did you?
I did.
Well, you're a little bigger man than me. I'm a footprint. I'm a footprint, Josh. So no, I didn't. And we have a Jeep. It's not like, I was like, well, maybe we'll just take the Jeep.
Yeah, but so we have Bronco. We'll have Bronco Bash up there the week after the Jeep Invasion this year, which is going to be pretty cool.
I thought it was the week before.
No, it's
a week before. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of excited by that, because I will say, Super Cel's fun, but I know it's kind of the old school guys that kind of kept the thing alive for a little bit, and they don't seem to like the young guy, the young Bronco, as much as they probably should, honestly, because young Bronco made the prices of the old Gen 1s like skyrocket, so they should appreciate that. But I will say the Jeep Invasion, that's a hell of a fun time, man. Like, getting to see that amount of actual manufacturers, and not just like little guys making parts. Like, these are major manufacturers that show up for this. So I'm expecting, with the Invasion, I'm expecting them to have like BF Goodrich and Toyo and all these guys come out, have nice displays, and hopefully we're planning on having a display out there, so we should have fun.
Yeah, I've heard Nitto's coming to the Bronco Bash and staying for Jeep Invasion too. So
yeah, Bronco Stampede is what it says.
Yeah, they got to quit changing the name.
I know.
just be Bronco Invasion.
It's the same. I should have known, because it's the same week as Woodward.
Yeah, which I'm telling you, Allie, you need to come to this.
She can't. She's working.
Well, whatever. You can take time off. No, I think yeah.
We won't tell them it was at that event, Allie.
Yeah. It's a crazy COVID world. That's all I know. But
it is still a thing. I can't claim it.
I do think that that one will be eventually kind of overtake Super Cel and be the kind of event for Broncos over there. And I know there's one in June or something that they're trying to do as well. I haven't seen much excitement about that one just yet.
Yeah, it was like a 1 or 2 day event. The one for June is what I saw last, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't big, but I don't think it'll take Super Cel over, because Super Cel is its own animal. It's like, it's been going 20 years in Townsend. Yeah. So it'll just be one of those things they add to it. It's kind of, Jeep Invasion's great, but it's not like it's ever going to take over Easter Jeep Safari in Moab.
Yeah,
so. True.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have the cool red rocks here.
I think the only thing it has and it could go either way. To your point, Super Cel has been going for 20 something years. You may continue to get the old school folks that go to the one in Townsend, but then you might start seeing the newer folks if they don't feel welcomed at, Super Cel for any reason, they might go to the other one.
Honestly, the newer vehicle lends itself to mall crawlers. And I will be honest, at the Jeep Invasion,
it's a
lot of mall crawlers, man. There's a lot of kick-ass off-road people there as well. And they bring in people like Light Bright, which you guys know I'm not big on. But they had a bunch of I won't say celebrities, but like known names in off-roading that show up to those things. So once Bronco starts getting a couple years down the road, getting that reputation of their own little party, their own little ducks, as it were, that it'll be a pretty big fun time.
Yeah, we're trying.
Well, I think
I'm trying to talk the RTR boys to come up and hang out for the week. And they're gonna
that'd be fun.
they're gonna come to Super Cel this year too, which is gonna be pretty cool.
Nice.
Well, I want to talk to those guys. They've I know Chase, whatever his name's been over to their shop and stuff, but I think it'd be fun for me to put my spin on what they do, because I dig the craziness, and I don't dig it because I want YouTube views. I just dig the kind of craziness they do. So I want to be a part of that a little bit.
You can't put any more.
And I deal with this crazy all day.
Bronco.
Do what?
So you can't put any more spin on what Lauren and Vaughn do when they go on a wheel car.
No. Oh no. When they took that strip down one through Moab, that was hilarious, man.
Yeah.
So, Allie, anything add to this?
No, I mean, I'm just excited for it to actually be here. I'm like, if we can just skip over winter in Michigan, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
100%. Even in Tennessee.
Or even in Tennessee, I would take that.
Yeah.
Of course,
yeah.
yes,
Let me look at what the weather's going to be this weekend.
Cold.
Josh,
what's the weather over there going to be like this weekend? We're supposed to be in Gatlinburg.
Oh man, it's not. Today was like 63 degrees, so it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, Super Cel.
Yeah.
I got a couple new trails we're gonna go ride. Not just gonna do Windrock. I got another piece of property for us to go play on that's a little bit closer. So if anyone wants to, I know we can go ride all day and then go to Windrock another day. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, that was
we can't
my buddy
lose you this time, Josh.
I won't.
That was my buddy with Lifestyle Off-Road. He was in our booth over there, and he's like, "Hey, man, we're thinking about going Windrock tonight." And I was like,
and I know how they operate.
Yeah, he's crazy. And I'm like, I'm not driving that far, honestly, because Windrock's not like a hop, skip, and a jumping away. There's a little bit to it. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I'll go over there and I'll break something, and then I'll have to supposedly be back here at my booth. And I was like, I can't do that, man. But
I told Dave, I said, quote me, they're not going to be back until after midnight or right at midnight.
Yeah.
And because I was like, do the math, hour and a half there, hour and a half back. So that, let's just say 3 hours. And they left at like 6 o'clock.
I thought you guys left early.
We left right at 8.
Right at 8 o'clock in the night night.
They did just 20,
Yeah.
they did Trail 22 over there, but
I was thinking it is not worth it for me to pay the day fee to go over there
I don't know if
for like an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Have our yearly pass anymore.
No, because we don't go over there enough.
Yeah, so like when I took
Night, Randy, thanks for joining.
We had 68 Broncos, and
That's crazy.
I got back at 9:30 that night to get everybody off the trail and get back over.
Well, I heard people kind of bad mouthing all that a little bit, and I was like, for one, they weren't expecting that many people to want to go trail ride, and two, there was a few.
Just because there were a lot of people.
Yeah, there was I think a couple. You had all those people that had never done that before. That did not sound
Gen
fun.
1s and Gen 2s that wanted to go, and they overheated because there was a bunch of time sitting on the trail.
I
mean, it took time.
Yeah, no, that sounds horrible. Please do not try to recruit me to help you with that at all, because that sounds horrible. And I love Windrock, but that just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Josh said, "Dave, you're an asshole. I don't want you to help me."
Well, no, that's probably true.
Yeah, somebody did ask. So you said you're doing some other on a property around there. Do you know what you're doing at Windrock right now, or will you know closer to time?
I don't know what we're gonna do. So we're trying to figure out is the new property we're gonna take, if we want to do like the new property for like a beginner day,
Gotcha.
and intermediate day, and then like Windrock just take the guys that want to go up the tougher trails, so we don't have to worry about, hey, I've never done this before. I would like to go up Trail 1 and Trail 2, and then I want to take 30 people up, 20 and 22 and whatever. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now, is if we want to split it on, hey, Thursday's going to be your beginner setup. Friday's going to be your more.
No, I got stuck on Trail 2 in my Jeep. Like Trail 2 can be at times nasty.
Well, gravel can sometimes be nasty.
Yeah, the G trails are horrible.
It's not hard in a Jeep,
No, that was the trust me, the Gladiator
Bronco.
The Gladiator pissed me off so bad because all these new modern throttle controls and stuff. And I kept telling Kelly, I was like, of course it's long.
I was leading a ladies only run.
Yeah. In a Jeep.
For a Nissan event.
Which was embarrassing enough.
And we had Luke with Lifestyle Off-Road was on the trail with us in his Bronco.
He'd just gotten the
He
thing.
had just gotten the thing. And I was like, you can be with us, but I have to lead because that's the rules of the ladies off-rodeo or ladies run. And so I literally get to a point and the Jeep would not climb over this ledge.
Yeah.
And Luke was like, well, let me get up in front of you and give you a pull. And I was like, son of a bitch. So he gets up there and Dave goes, you can do this, Kelly. Just give it some more. Give it some more. And I was like, I'm giving it all I have. And he gets in it and we had to end up being pulled up because like he said, there was the throttle control in there that was stopping and it wouldn't let me get up and over it. And I'm
Which
like,
is
son of a bitch.
The modern electronics and some of this stuff, it's the dumbest thing because it's, I know what it is. It's safety stuff. But at some point you're like, you built an off-road vehicle that clearly the safety features doesn't want it to be off-road.
Yeah.
So
let me put it in an off-road mode or something so that if you need those throttle controls everywhere else, let me put it in off-road mode that allows me to use it for what it's supposed to be used for. But
thank God for all the
what do we know? Yes.
A Baja mode I've really enjoyed lately. So it's all I'm going to say.
Sir.
Throw it in two-wheel drive and it's a lot of fun.
Hey.
It is.
Not street driving.
No, this one here's going down.
You're not supposed to tell everybody.
Down the traction control button all the way and let automatically shut it off. It's a lot more fun.
Oh, nice.
Don't keep telling us things, Josh.
No, this one here was going down the interstate Baja mode. And I was like, you're not supposed to do that.
I did it for like 2 miles.
Well,
stop it.
We're going to be one of those transmissions.
So stop telling everybody.
Thing this week when he was doing his donuts in his Bronco.
The what now?
Chase Gentry. Do you follow him?
I'm not a big fan of his, but I do follow him.
Well, did you see the video this week where he's doing his donuts on his pad?
I seen something about it today. I saw some donuts, but I didn't get any.
Pretty good. He turned his traction control off and did all the stuff, and he was drifting it pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Spinning.
Nice. I need to meet Chase because he does seem like an interesting fellow. But yeah,
Dave's real judgy.
I am very judgy.
When you come to Super Cel, I'll introduce you because he's coming down to hang out with me for the week.
Okay. Well, good. Well, I'm gonna get me some of those glasses though. I've got to have.
I got you.
Okay. I like it. God.
I hate it when you open your mouth and you insert your foot.
No, but these are like. I'm assuming he's. I feel like I saw him at the first Super Cel, but no, like I'm like a mouse compared to these guys, man. Like,
what does that have to do with anything?
Like 5'11".
See, he's only 3 inches taller than you.
5'8", man. Come on now.
Wild Raptor. I saw the Santa too.
No, but actually, some of our viewers have actually tried to get me to get Chase on here, and I reached out to him once and never heard back from him. So I assume he was on one of his adventures or something. Or
yeah, so he's one of the Ford Bronco ambassadors, so he's got a lot of stuff on the road to go get to and do, and he's got guidelines and what he can do content wise and where he can go. So if you want him on, I can get him on though.
Don't go any further. Just shut
I know about the guidelines. Trust me, I've had that roadblock a couple times.
Yeah.
I do want to. There's a couple things I want to talk about. While we have Josh on here, Mr. Off-Road, Josh, I don't know what your deal is with if you know like AIG or whatever, but dude, I'm actually very impressed with their support for the hatch on this thing. I don't know if you've seen this thing or not.
Yeah, no, I saw it a couple of days ago, and it's actually looks really impressive. I'm going to see it in person.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, from what I can see on the photos, it's really impressive.
I like that they just didn't do some laser cut piece of metal and was like, there you go.
Yeah.
I think if I were to get this, if we go to 37s where we have to do this, I think I would have it painted the body color of the truck just so it kind of blends in a little better. Right. But no, I was pretty happy to see this, but I will say this stuff is so expensive. This is not the fun part of off-roading. These are things you need. So sometimes the parts you need, are expensive and you're like, I can't show this cool part off. But no, I saw that today and I was like very impressed with this.
It's kind of like when you're selling the house and you have to upgrade update certain things and you're like, nobody's ever going to see this.
Like termites.
Well, JJ has a Raptor, so to be honest, I'm not surprised that he made something for it. So I'm sure they're going to have a ton of Raptor content coming out really soon.
Well, I'll be excited to see that because this definitely looks like something that would be for a Raptor.
Mm-hmm.
There was something else I wanted to go ahead, Kelly. I'm trying to figure this. this problem out. Oh, here I will end this little bit of news because I thought this was kind of nasty, honestly. Bronco 6G. This guy's wife wrecked his Bronco. But Kelly, read this.
What am I reading? There's really not much.
No, but
it's for one. It says 8 miles and over 20 or 8 months and over 21,000 miles and not a scratch. Wife drives it for 40 miles and this. Edited to add, this was directed at my wife's driving and not all women drivers. So let me guess, he got his ass handed to him in the other comment section.
I was like, I saw that and I was like, holy cow, you're opening yourself up for an ass beating, man.
I'm just amazed how that broke straight dead center in half.
Well, what the hell did she hit?
What I really like is how the girl now says bro.
Yeah.
I would totally hang that up, man.
Shit, what did she hit? And it was hard too.
He talks, I think further it talks about she ran into a trailer.
Well, she was going fast.
Well, I don't know. I mean, usually accidents don't happen. You don't
that bad.
I mean,
well, good thing
bent shit and everything right there.
Well, good thing they had the
bent
tire,
all that,
the safety things for the tires on there.
Well, you know,
and the bug guard. I mean, thank God for the bug guard. It saved the hood.
Right.
You know what's bad is you probably pull that guard off there and then you see the hood's crinkled anyways.
Yeah.
But there's not much to that, Kelly. I just saw I was looking for some little fun things to talk about and I was like, well, that guy's sleeping on the couch tonight.
Hey, Dave, do you still have that one picture I sent you of that Bronco? Josh wants me to talk about it, so I'm just going to talk about it.
Yes.
Which when did
in our chat?
Yeah, the timeline picture.
Hold on.
So talk about getting used to Amazon packages and getting a Bronco delivered. Granted, he was a day one reservation holder.
But go ahead, set this up a little more because I'm quickly trying to pull this up.
I might be able to find it before he does.
So so day one reservation holder, it was going down, the actual production date was on December 7th at 2:05 a.m.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah,
yeah. We're going to talk about this one.
Okay. No,
So
this will either piss people off or really impress them.
Well, there's more to the story at the end, so we'll add that.
Okay.
So at 6:43 a.m., Ford production released to the mod center. 6:47 return from the mod center back to the plant. Can
I show the screen?
Yeah,
that you
there's
sent
nothing
us?
on it. Yeah, there's nothing on it that I can get
in
trouble. So at 8:09 time, Ford production gate release. Vehicles was received at 8:44. And it was
great. So you're showing everybody that I'm going to kick your ass.
I know. I see that.
Great, Dave. Golly, dude.
And then at 6:32 a.m. on 12/8, the Bronco was actually released, and I had it on my lot at 1:22 p.m. And I have screenshots, and I did send them to Josh as well because we did double check. We think this is the fastest Bronco that was produced, shipped, and sent out.
No, don't touch anything.
Period. Yeah, don't touch a thing.
So
we're looking at 30 hours.
Yeah.
So it started at 9:44 on the 6th. Sorry, I'm a visual person, so I have to see it because even though you said it, I have to look at it.
Yeah, but then it actually started production at 2:05.
It's
holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 30 hours from built to delivered is insane. It's the fastest one I've ever seen.
I will say this. There is an issue with it. So there is a engine code. The engine light was on.
What?
So, yep, the engine light was on. It is also saying that it's sensing a part that's actually not on the car. That's not supposed to be on the car. So we do have to reprogram a couple of the sensors and some, I can't remember what my tech said. But the Bronco will be ready tomorrow. But this is by far the fastest Bronco that has been released and sent to a dealership.
That's insane.
I couldn't believe it. I'm texting the guy in the morning because I had just gotten the invoice. And I'm like, hey, I'll get you out the door because he's paying cash. So I wanted to move stuff around. I'm like, hey. I'm like, I think there's an issue because he texts me a bunch of things because he knows people of things that is like holding his Bronco up, like it was on chip hold, all this stuff. I'm like, no, dude, it's not. It's showing that it's literally on a truck right now. So I'm talking to him on the 8th, and his Bronco was built on the 7th. I'm like, no, dude, it's gate release, like it's coming. I don't know if it's gonna be today or this week, but it's coming. And then I'm seeing, so our new VIN view is like, it will show us when your truck is leaving, and like we can track it like almost to the hour. And I'm
Wow.
like, no, dude. I'm like, it's in Dearborn right now. Like, it made a stop at this dealership, and like, we're next. And then he's like, no way. Just keep me informed. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. Haha. And like, we're joking about this.
Right. And all the rest of everybody in the world is saying the same thing in their minds.
I know. So I literally take a picture of it actually sitting in our lot. And I'm like, so are you coming today to pick this up or what? He goes, no. And I told him I wasn't letting him have it because we needed to check it over. I'm like, and he even said the same thing. He's like, something's missing. Something can't be right. Like, my Bronco can't be ready. Granted, what is wrong is very small, and we're fixing it. And it's not drastic. It wouldn't have ever hurt the Bronco, but it's one of those things. I'm glad I didn't let him take it.
Yeah.
Because if something did, I would feel really bad, and then he'd be really screwed without a Bronco. But by far, this is the fastest Bronco that, I mean, I guess it could be considered Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
with,
at that point.
with how far it's been built.
Now, when did he order?
He ordered day one like everybody else.
Oh, so he's a day one.
He was here. Yeah, he was here actually. He sent it to me, and I think we actually finalized it in February because there's a couple changes, and then we changed it down the road as well. He did ask to be changed to 99 because he had some inside scoop of some things happening, so he wanted to purposely wait for some stuff. So,
and now he's like, dang, I should have held it.
Yeah. No, and it was funny. He actually had never sat in a Bronco. He never did any of the like Ford events that like brought the Broncos there. He's like, I wanted to sit in my Bronco. I'm like, that's awesome. So
yeah,
I let him drive it up to like the parking area of our dealership from where it was parked. He's like, I don't want to spoil it. I'll just drive it when I actually pick it up. I'm like, got it. Okay. But we're doing a bunch of stuff to it anyway. But it was by far the fastest. Like,
no, that's
going
ridiculous.
down the line to that. I have so many questions because I'm waiting on like 722s and his is a 23. So I'm just like, I have no explanation. I don't know what to say. I'm like, it is what it is. Just enjoy it.
I'm assuming the 22s are all on chip hold, probably.
Yeah. I mean, the shitty thing is their bases.
Yeah.
So it's how much can they be helped? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but this is they're going to do the same. I know they did the cutoff date a little quicker this year, but they're going to have the same thing. They're going to be delivering 22s in April.
Yeah.
And people are going to be pissed off again. And I know
it's the same thing on an F-150 right now. The F-150 has been built for 4 months. I can't tell you why I don't have it. It shows that it's done. It shows that it's in one of their holding lots, but like it shows everything's complete. And yet I still don't have a truck. And I just got a 23 Platinum yesterday. So you tell me, or not yesterday.
Well, it's what Tim Bartz was saying. That Maverick has been on hold since summer.
Oh yeah, so we got in like August, we got a 21 Super Duty that had been built.
Oh shit!
A year ago and sitting out in Kentucky, and it literally got lost in the field of the other 6,000 trucks sitting there. They found it and they shipped it, and it showed up, and I got an email saying, "Hey, the 21 Super Duty got delivered today," and I was like,
"Got to be a typo."
It was a 20, like it was crazy. So
I mean 22. Yeah, I just don't. There's no rhyme or reason. I can like with this new like VIN view, I can literally like go. Oh, here comes my dog.
Hi, Maya.
Almost time for me to go. I can almost like pinpoint within a foot of like where this vehicle is at. So it's like if I can find it, you tell me why I can't have it, type of a thing. So.
Well, didn't they shut that off for consumers? It seemed like there was something going around where that was kind of shut down a little bit.
VIN view is something strictly for dealers that we can kind of ping the the modem pings us or the system, and like it tells like what's going
there was
on,
something,
and like they can add notes.
There was a tracker
they had
or something. I don't know if it was
consumer.
Yeah,
that they shut down because they're having so many issues actually updating each individual one because it actually wasn't connected to the modem. It was connected to the scan card, like on the trucks as they were going through and loading out of the warehouse to the fields, to the train, to the trailer, whatever. So they shut that down because it was just something that people were scanning the wrong thing, putting the wrong thing in the wrong place. And consumers like, hey, my truck got delivered today. I'm like, it hadn't even been built yet. So yeah.
Like, no.
That explains why people's trucks were showing up and they were viewed that they were still at the lots and things like that because they weren't scanned right. Gotcha.
I mean, the VinView system even has some glitches in it to where it'll say something's done or been shipped or delivered, and it's still not at the store. So it still has some glitches and some issues, but it's a lot more user friendly and easy for us to tell customers where stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Valley Dude 5000, he did not know someone to get him pushed because his supervisor is still waiting on a 22 and he hasn't said a word. So he actually feels very guilty about even getting his. He had asked me specifically not to post anything, not to put his name, like absolutely nothing, because he knows heads up at Ford that are still waiting on their 22s, and he got his 23. So we are all very confused. I talked to the plant manager that we did a Toys for Tots fundraiser for Michigan Bronco Club this weekend. I had told him what happened, and he looked at me and he's like, now what happened? like, no joke. This is by far the fastest one. And he's like, yeah, that probably shouldn't have happened, but it's just one of those things. So
yeah, well, it did, and that guy's going to be happy.
He is. He'll be happy when all of the stuff is done. I got to get it undercoated tomorrow. So.
Oh, that Michigan salt. Gotta love it.
I'm so glad I don't deal with that shit, man.
Shut up.
I forget. Well, it's funny because I lived in Tennessee, or I lived in Michigan until I was 21, but I was also away at school for a little while during that part. And I didn't drive a ton, obviously, during that time. I didn't drive as much as I drive now, obviously, but it's so fascinating to me when we go to Michigan and we see all these vehicles that are like 3 years old,
rusted,
newer body styles, and they're half rotted away because of rust. And I'm like, holy shit, I forgot it's
not
bad up
even
here.
like it's not even just the salt. It's like just how crappy our roads are.
Yeah.
And
it's
all
crazy.
The crap flinging up on it. It's
yeah.
great.
So underspray would absolutely be necessary.
Yeah, and it wasn't too dirty.
Or something like that?
It definitely wasn't too dirty either. I mean, there was some mud on it, so you could tell it definitely went through some of the not paved parts of it. But I mean, for the most part, it was pretty clean. So
that's crazy.
Hey, Allie. So Mike Levine's been he's really pushing the Ranger Raptor suddenly. So I have a sneaky suspicion that they're coming soon. And just remember, right?
What?
Just number one, right?
Sorry, she couldn't hear you over Maya.
I know, I can't hear you over my dog barking.
Don't make me go see Josh's buddy down in Alabama. Come on now.
Oh, rude.
Or you can just come see me. I'll hook you up too.
There you go. You can go to Josh,
Knoxville.
Wait, a lot closer.
I could be like, math is hard.
Like, you can't add.
Math is hard.
One.
So clearly, you guys both. How big of a deal is this Ranger Raptor going to be as we wind this one down? But I know this is Bronco talk, but I think this is going to be a big truck for them.
So I think Ranger Raptor is going to be super a real big deal. It's going to launch out. It's going to be one of those things where a lot of the guys that have always wanted a little bit more aggressive Ranger without having to build something that's going to have a nice new toy to play with. A lot of the guys don't want to go spend 85, 90 grand on a Raptor. But they can now, buy one on the Ranger Raptor and spend less money and have something that they can still fit in their garage and not worry about, dinging and wrecking. So I think it's going to be super cool. Insides look awesome. So.
Yeah, and the thing is with that too, it's the people who want a Ranger but maybe don't want an F-150, but they want the Ranger a little bit wider. This is going to be perfect for you. And the fact that, so we're not getting the Australian one. We're going to get one that's a little bit more, I don't know, modern and just a little bit up to date.
Those stupid Australians in there. I mean, they're already more modern.
Damn
they're ahead of us, Allie. Come on now.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
no, I
1,000.
I mean, I get to see one next week, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, whatever.
And then one box.
Do y'all?
You remember we're on a live, right?
I never said what version I was singing.
That's right. Do y'all think, because I really do think though that if they don't do 35s on it, it's a miss. I know why they do 33s in Australia because of the stupid laws they have, but it's not like MAP's not set up. It's not like they're not set up for
35s.
a big vehicle because they got the Bronco Raptor rolling down there. I really do think if they don't do 35s, it's almost a miss.
I can agree. I mean, I see the 33s, and I think it'll be more maybe one of those like the Raptors got the 37 package where you can add something to it. I think it might be 33s and you can add something into the 35s as an upcharge package, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Maybe they can stick a big 35 on the side of it like they do the. But what's funny was if you think 10 years ago what this is going to cost, you could have bought a normal Raptor for an F-150 Raptor.
100%.
Probably.
And then I remember when
Honestly.
those came out going, damn, that's expensive for a full-size truck.
Mhm.
And
Dude,
now that
everything's
seems like a
getting
deal.
more and more expensive.
Well, it's like we were talking about it this weekend. We've talked about this several times. It still just blows my mind that we sit there because we test vehicles that are $110,000 vehicles, SUVs that moms are driving their kids around in and letting them get all nasty and all this other stuff. I'm talking about a Grand Wagoneer,
Yeah.
and we just go, man, we would never spend $100,000 on it. But what, 10 years ago, we would have never spent $54,000 on a vehicle either. And here we did it with our Bronco. And now we're looking at Ranger Raptor and we know it's going to be even more than our Bronco was. And we're just like, dang, when did the times change that we're okay with having a house in our driveway, essentially?
My first house was $70,000.
So it's crazy to me because I started working at the dealership 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago.
What were you, 12?
And
yes.
No. Nice try. But
I'm just buttering you up to say number one.
The first F-150 I ever leased was $45,000. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, holy crap. And I watched my trucks get more and more expensive as every single year goes on. And I'm numb to it just because Josh can agree. We see this every day. We see the cost of the vehicle. So we don't really bat an eye anymore. But when I look at perspective of when I started of what these vehicles cost to now looking at today, it's insane just how much more expensive, but they're jamming so much more stuff onto these cars that's standard. It's insane.
Oh no, all the safety stuff has cost a fortune to put on these things.
Oh yeah,
all the cameras that you got to do.
And now everyone can't live without them because you would have to think let's just take the simple bliss system. So the little orange dot in your mirror that tells you someone's in your blind spot. You had to be in a titanium level almost across the board to try and even get that on to where now it's a standard feature. And I have 3 more minutes before my dog takes out my phone. So
I mean, if you look back, even let's just say 15 years ago, with guys in the farm stuff like F-250s and 350s, you could buy a diesel 15 years ago for 45, 50 grand.
Absolutely.
Now you go to
that was the high end
go to a
too.
450. I've got some Platinums and Limiteds on the lot. They're 108, 107 grand MSRPs. So, and that's some guy's going to use it as a farm tractor. So
yeah, that poor thing's never gonna.
Boggles my mind.
Yeah. By Chicago Auto Show, I think that Ford's got this thing out. They're going to do the release on their own, like they do everything. But I have a feeling by Chicago they'll have a display of this thing up, and I don't think they want to go through the reservation process like they've done with Bronco because I think they've taken their licks on that one. But I would think March, April, sometime reservation banks open up for Rangers in general, just Ranger in general.
Probably somewhere around there.
Because I was told job 1 is May. So, that's the deliveries by June.
Well, probably, honestly, Ford's been so quiet the last couple of weeks. We're going into a holiday season, so they're not going to announce anything until after January.
Well, usually when Levine is sit out on his little mission, his Twitter mission of start posting about things, nothing he does is by coincidence. So
no, I will say Mike is very good at what he does.
Yeah, but he
100%.
knows he's very good at what he
Coffee
does
and
too. So
good to go, and he will take out whatever. And if they give him something to drive or tell him something to post, that means there's something coming shortly down the pipeline. Because if not, Mike is very hush hush on everything that he's got going on and knows about 2 or 3 years ahead of time. So if he's posting something about it, there's something coming.
That means pay attention.
now, if I could just get him to pay attention to that transfer case.
Baja 1000. So that was a telltale sign that something was coming down the pipe.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no way Ford HQ here in America would allow that vehicle here if there wasn't Yeah,
if there wasn't a reason.
because
to
I
market
remember
it.
Nissan when I worked for Nissan. They were so mad. I don't know if you guys remember the little Juke R that they built, the little where they bastardized a GTR and put the drivetrain in it. Nissan Japan was pissed off, man. They were not. They did not approve that because for them, like that car, the GTR was a work of art. You don't tear that thing apart to do what they did, and they sold like 70 of those things to people in the Middle East, and then they were all happy about it. So
Yeah.
Poll. Let's end the poll here, and I know Allie's got to go.
Yeah, Maya might bite your face off when she sees you.
She's gonna bite me. Let's see. I said so. Due to a rash of issues with the Bronco, are you staying away or from buying it? And the question. Let's see. Not all things or what did I post there?
Not at all, comma.
Yeah. Duh.
Things happen is what it should have
Yeah.
said.
For 58%. 21% said I'm a little uneasy. 12% said let's see how the year plans out, and 7% said I'm done with Bronco.
Wow.
So I'm happy to see that people are understanding that things happen. And once again, if Mike Levine would ever pay attention, I've tagged him in that
he gets tagged in everything, Dave.
I know. I'm sure his notifications are insane, or he just turns them off.
Yeah,
I've pissed him off a few times. So
I mean, they're done with Bronco, yet they stay for Bronco live chat.
What, Josh?
They're done with Bronco, yet they stay for Bronco live chat.
Yeah.
Well, clearly.
You got the trolls. And I mean, maybe, Josh, maybe you can kind of weigh in on this too. I think, I mean, even when it comes to first years, like, yeah, I get it. I don't care who you are. Every single manufacturer goes through their glitches the first year. It is what it is. And I guess, like, working at a dealer, because, like, I know I have the warranty, and I know some people are not big on them. Some people are. Me just working at a dealership, I can see it help more people than it does not helping people. So it's something I would probably get if I knew I was keeping it more long term than I plan to.
Oh, 100%. If it's not something you're gonna, buy, have for 2 years, get the next new toy that comes out, I would. Yeah.
That's the hard part about working at a dealership.
Oh yeah, 100%. But you've got new cars coming out. You've got new things. I think the frustration for people on Bronco was they put a day run reservation in. There was 200,000 something of it, and then all of a sudden, hey, we've got Bronco Heritage, we've got the Raptor, and these people haven't even got their first Bronco reservation they put in for. And that's a lot of the frustration that I hear about, every single day, because I get it from the store, but then I get it across the country from people from Off-Rodeo that still have Broncos. But yeah, I think that was a lot of the frustration was, well, get me mine first before you start adding all these other models in, and you're going to start building them down the assembly line. I still don't have mine.
You know what might fix that though? Making Map dedicated Bronco, and that's it.
Yeah,
because Ranger can be built anywhere. There's no. I understand that, and honestly, Map is too small of a plant to build Bronco. Let's be honest. I know there's this goofy heritage with like, oh, well, it's always been built there. Well, times change, man. It's time to, if you want to build a modern vehicle that you want to sell, Jeep sells 200,000 plus Wranglers. You want to sell that many? You might need a bigger plant.
I get it, but they also don't produce. They also don't produce like a ton of Rangers to where it affects it too much, though.
Yeah, but this next generation, they might.
Everything.
I mean, it's a good. I mean, I've never been a Ford Ranger guy. I've never liked Ford Ranger, and I really like this such I think
he's such a flipper.
No, I've just never. No, I'm not brand loyal anymore. I have the ability to like everything. Yeah. But the normal Ranger, I think, is the best looking small truck out there right now. Well, it's about to be out there. So, all right, guys. I don't want to see Allie get bit by a dog over there, so we're gonna have to let Allie go. Josh, thank you for finally getting in here.
Yes,
we've only asked you for like 3 weeks in a row to hop in.
I know. I think we need to have another one of these. It could be fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll definitely.
We'll do it. We'll do it again, and then I'll once I get my new toy, we'll go up and play, and we'll do Bronco Super Cel, and if nothing else, you guys can come down here or whatnot, and we'll take it out and go test it.
Oh yeah, I keep bugging Josh to go to Windrock. So
yeah.
All right, guys.
You cut out. What'd you say, Josh?
So once we get the new toy, you can come to Windrock and we'll go play.
Nice. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys. So that was Bronco Talk Live, presented by White Knuckle Off-Road Sliders. If you guys need some really good rock sliders, go check them out, man. They're a small company, and that's all they do is rock sliders. So, and we've had like 5 sets of their rock sliders, and they've always treated us very nicely. And they're very upfront with like times, how long it takes. So, whether it be 2-wheel drive,
4-wheel drive,
it doesn't matter. Well, wait, it does matter what
Mondays
you drive.
it matters.
It's like 70. No, it's like 80% Bronco Talk, Ranger 20%.
You realize you can never close out a show anymore.
We're out. Peace, everybody.
See ya.